I'm starting off fresh, and I feel good. I look good. I smells good. I am good.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of the iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, feel weak, run down, and are easily upset,
we are striving for more.
Start taking
ironrealmmedia
today.
It's Friday, my dudes.
Happy Friday, my friend.
Thank God it's Friday.
Oh, and TGIF. Welcome to Have No Sphere, right here on the Iron Realm Media podcast channel. And I think we're getting close. The countdown can be on, I think, towards the time that we can stream back on our main channel, provided, of course, they don't hit us with another strike in the next week or so. But you never can tell, because we do like to talk about conspiracy theories that may or may not be considered dangerous to some overly sensitive little bitches. Anyway, let's say hello to everybody, starting off with, well, Zack, just because I know he's there for sure. You might recognize him from his channel, Good Times for All, here on the YouTubes. Mr. Zachary Zabala. How the hell are you doing, sir?
Not too shabby. I was thinking about my nicknames, and the one we forgot, was it Walt Johnson? Or did we remember that one? I forget which ones we forgot now.
It might have been Walt Johnson.
Because I don't think we forgot Stay Puffed or Too Nice for Rice or the Nomad.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in there, I don't know. I don't know why that popped into my head. But yeah, it popped into my head not that long ago. I was like, okay, which one was it? I don't know. But not a bad day. Can't complain. Since this morning. Actually got a little nap in. Woke up about, I think I laid down about 4 o'clock. Woke up about 5:30. I'm ready.
It's not a bad little nap.
Nah, perfect. Hour and a half. Can't beat it. Any more than that, and then I get groggy and cranky, and yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. Glad you got a nap in. I could have used one. Not too sure, but I think I'm starting to come down with something. I feel it in my chest a little bit. I've been sleeping a little more than usual, or at least being tired a little more than usual. So, might have to contend with that this weekend.
Cami was getting over something finally. The last couple of days, her stomach's been just, one of those.
Yep. Dixie and David both had a cold or something going on. Nasally congestion, cough and stuff. that went on for about a week. I think he still got it a little bit. She finally is on the mend, I think, and feeling halfway decent. Now here it is. I'm coming down. I don't know. So far, so good, other than the weird, like, sore throat when I wake up in the morning. Now I can kind of feel it in my chest as I was leaving work. I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
At least it's Friday.
No. There you go.
Hopefully I can kick its ass over the weekend.
Silver linings. Get you some oranges and stuff like that and just overdose on vitamin C.
Listen, I do pretty good with the fruit anyway. Don't think I had an orange today. It had banana and an apple. Plus a V8 in the morning.
Eat apples and bananas.
Don't do that.
Well, I know there's some other people in here.
There are. I heard.
Listen to me sing apples and bananas all night.
I heard of Mr. Walt Johnson in there somewhere. You might recognize his channel, Flat Earth Head, here on the YouTubes. You can probably check around. Give it a search. Who knows what you'll find. Walter, how are you doing, sir?
Good. Had a little nap. Still working my way through this whole thing. And had a lovely discussion with Liz after the call, after everybody got off. I think she and I stayed on another hour. So getting some of it out, sharing our sorrow.
Did you put Liz to work? No, I'm joking.
She is commiserating because she was as touched by Spot from afar as I was here at the house. So
yeah,
she definitely is going through this with me. And I know you all are. I'm just saying
yeah.
And I definitely connected over Spot a lot. So it has been helpful without a doubt. And just, dealing with the day. They're still fresh and it's still reminders everywhere, of course, so pick something and he was involved in it. So
yeah,
it'll take some adjustment. It definitely will. But like I said, it's better today than it was this morning, and this afternoon, and I'm sure it'll be better tomorrow. It's not going to fix itself anytime soon, but it definitely will ease up, and especially with all the love you guys are sending out. So I know I hear my fan cutting in on me, so I'm sorry about that. It's very hot down here today. It said it was going to storm, and then it just kind of rained a little bit enough to make it super freaking humid.
Oh, that's the worst. It's like, just get it over with.
Yeah, just do it, man. Stop torturing. That's right. So hopefully, it looks like it's going to hit this evening, though. It finally is. I see it getting dark again out there, pre-sunset, so it probably is going to hit soon. It just wasn't. Am I crackly? Yeah, that's what I was saying about my fan, Liz. I'll try to redirect my mic a little directional. We're on Skype, and sometimes it's less friendly to noise cancellation.
Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he picks up every little noise. It's weird because this is what we run on in the morning. And Walt,
Yes,
you never sound like this in the morning.
Well, I always
know
have the fan off in the morning.
Okay.
It's cool, and I know it makes noise. So
Yeah, but in the summertime, you've had the fan on in the mornings.
yeah, it's just a new position. Yes, or
Yeah.
something's got it acting up.
Well, you should have heard Cami's microphone earlier. I don't know where she was sitting, but the only thing it would pick up is the river, apparently.
It sounded like she was sitting inside of a truck going down the highway with the windows open. It was crazy, yeah. She was picking up all kinds of noises.
No, the thing about it was I was outside. I could not hear you guys. So whatever, if you were talking back, I could not hear a thing because my headset wasn't connecting. And in fact, we've had to move computers. It's been quite the ordeal. But yeah, I didn't hear that on the microphone. So it must have been set to the all around. And I didn't think it was overly loud out there. It must have been just hitting the right angle of the microphone out, like again, directed where the highway, because it wasn't hitting me. And I did the show with it probably a little bit louder last night on Glowbusters, and you didn't pick up at all. So had to be directional out the window instead of, in towards the house. And being a good microphone, looking at that like a voice to amplify and pick up. I imagine if it wasn't picking me up, it went all in for that. It was on crisp, so it would have, it would have amplified it.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Kept on doing those gains. Like, where is it? Yep, no, but it is right there. It's doing really good too, Jared.
How was your week, Cam?
Mic check for me. Mic check.
Mike, we can hear it. I hear it. Week was pretty much the same as most weeks recently. A roller coaster of everything. We've had the stomach virus. We've had happy times. We had morning for you last night. Walt, I'm so sorry. My heart broke. And, we have little victories among waves of life happening, some good, some bad, and some intense. So this is a rowdy, like we're doing. You said the body is doing spring cleaning. It's like that. I think it's that unsettled spring pattern hitting right now, the unrest of it. So looking for a little bit of calm, looking to get the brain engaged a little bit more, looking towards the eclipse and light and polarity and different things that intrigue my mind, and I'm trying to focus there.
Yeah, Zach was trying to cue us in on some of the new revelations that have been being passed down to you.
Yeah, they've recently, which I've always suspected. We can go into this later on in the show because it won't make sense. But plasma, they've detected that if you spin plasma, you get double refraction. A refractive index, so it actually makes it a double refractive. So I've looked at, again, double refraction in different things and was wondering different ways to look at things. And one of the new ones is that you spin plasma, it can have a double refractive property to it, which again can come into play with such things as the lunar wave. And again, maybe answering some other questions we have on it. But again, it's really intriguing to break down, when you break down the mechanics of what's going on in the plate, what's really up there in the sky, it's mind-boggling. So that's been a fun thing.
It is mind-boggling. I will give you that for sure. And there's that thing. What the hell is that thing?
That is the dog formerly known as Minion. He got a haircut. And Zack left him with a rooster cock at the time. Go ahead and prop it up for him. He looks like a little mongoose. And he thinks Hank is a cobra.
And there he goes.
And there he goes. I was going to say also, I'm still in the conversation, but you were talking about the storms not going. It was funny that, I don't know if it was funny this morning, but we had quite the storm here. It was rumbling for quite a while, but my son ran up at probably 10:30 in the morning, and he was checking his Twitter, and that feeds. There was the biggest boom of thunder, lightning hit right by here, and the whole house shook. But
I was sitting in my room, and all of a sudden, my window lit up like someone was shining a painter's light at it for a second. And it was daylight out, but I could see this big bright flash out of the corner.
10:30 this morning, maybe?
Yeah. And then 2 seconds later, it sounded like a bomb went off. It really did. And the whole house just started shaking. I was like, wow, that was a big old thunder.
I ran in and checked on the dogs that were with Zack because he was eating at the time. And then Jaron runs up the stairs. He was checking his Twitter feed and things going on, thinking a bomb and wondering if they felt it as far as that. He had no idea. He was in his room, and when he went to bed, it was beautiful. It was 81 degrees yesterday and just, gorgeous here. And beautiful night. He went to bed and had no idea it was even raining. So he's down there, his blinds are shut. He has no clue it's raining, and the house shakes. And he's like, is it a bomb? What is it? Is this, Yeah, we didn't. In his life, in Denver, you just did not have these lightning strikes and the rolling, the rumbliness of them here. And again, when it shook the house, it just cracked. In Denver, would have been one. It would have been like a pop, a gunshot, shake the house. This one, rumble, shakes the house.
Rumbled the house, yeah. It was neat.
Still, for it to have been that far away, but still that bright, had to have been a huge fucking
Yeah, discharge for sure.
But I can tell you for my son, that's not the most pleasant way to be awoken out of a dead sleep as a teenager. So it's been probably a rough day for him today, I imagine, just with being shot out of the, oh, did bombs just go off? We were talking about the thing about like mom living in, we are, well, except for now, the whole world is like that, but living in conspiracy world where you get paranoid about everything, but it's, probably not that bad. I knew it was a storm. It was different. I knew it was raining going into it. But yeah, it was the experience.
I was thinking the same thing, that it really speaks to people's state of mind and kind of where we are mentally, emotionally and mentally. When you hear a big boom, you're like, oh, fuck, okay. Who bombed us? Where did that bomb fall? Damn. Feels like we're on the precipice.
Yeah, things are tensing up. We'll see what happens, though.
We sure will.
I mean, look at the late 80s. Russia and the United States, ducking cover, all that kind of nonsense. And nothing happened.
Anybody here? I don't think there's anybody on the call, but I'm wondering in chat. Create content on TikTok. Like now,
there was one.
I'm almost half tempted.
Are you asking if I do? Because I do, yeah.
Oh, Travis, are you back? Are you ready? We can say hello to you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I thought maybe I indicated I was here, but if not,
yeah, I've never even been on TikTok.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm an expert at hating TikTok. What do you want to know?
What do you think would happen if you made a daily video about Taiwan being its own country and free and independent and needs to stay that way? Just a daily reminder that Taiwan is its own country and needs
your channel
to
would probably be gone.
Free and independent. I'm just curious.
Well, why don't we, why wouldn't we want to make a test run and see what happens, right? You just run that thing up the flagpole and see who looks, but no one ever does, right? It's the same old story, Guess you hear that song, Flagpole Sitta, right? Run it up the flagpole to see who looks, but no one ever does. I don't know, man. That's a good question. But what's it going to...
I just wonder if ByteDance or whoever it is that owns it, if they're so not at all associated with the CCP, then surely they would allow videos maybe denigrating some of the horrible human rights violations having been committed by the Chinese Communist Party against the Chinese people themselves, and potentially against the future Taiwanese if they don't fucking leave Taiwan alone, given the fact that Taiwan is its own country and needs to stay free and independent.
I mean, like, what are we talking about, dude? Right? Think back, and I'm sorry that I can't be on camera.
Plutonium.
I'm live. What?
I said plutonium.
It's fun to say. Just say it with us. Plutonium.
Plutonium. I'm cascading my fingers together too. Anyway, I'm live on my channel.
Confirmed.
Yeah. So I'm streaming on my channel. With this phone call. Anyway, so that's why I'm not on camera to have like a semi kind of like face-to-face talk with you. But
well, I'm not on camera because Zack's too pretty and I can't compete with it. So
yeah, that's it. Come here.
I'm on camera, but just not for any of you fucks.
Yeah, I mean, but think back to what the Vietnam War, like, where did that get us? Where did the flower power go? The daisies in rifle barrels. We did that.
They all went inward. They all thought we need Eastern philosophy is what we need, and we need just to sit around and get some transcendental meditation going on. And then when we figure out that doesn't work, we'll all join the fucking corporate workworkforce and realize that what we really need is a goddamn 401k, and we'll just abandon this whole other shit we were into when we were young.
All right. Yeah. No, but I get your passion to go in that one direction, but that's not the direction I'm like thinking. So they both exist. You know, both of what you're saying is true, but also I'm saying like, so what if you make this ripple of a little peep of a little like paying of attention to what now? Like, who's going to pay attention to this little blip that you're like wanting to say, yeah, free to, you know, be like them. They're still the they're the only free state ever. You know, it's like that attention's never going to go anywhere.
But
it's
it
not
will.
going to produce anything.
It's going to produce something only. I mean, it's you know the people that are in charge by who you're not allowed to criticize.
Right. Sure.
So
absolutely.
it's not that you're expecting to draw a huge audience, other than an audience of one, and that is some member of the Chinese Communist Party. I'm just curious if they will censor pro-Taiwanese, anti-CCP videos on TikTok. I'm just curious.
I know they let so much shit go on TikTok.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That censoring that would be like, whoa, what are you censoring that for?
Do they let so much go? Or this is sort of the big conundrum that they're trying to deal with now. Is it because that site is so controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, as is pretty much any quote unquote private corporation in China who just gets a controlling share owned by the Chinese Communist Party? So now it's all just basically state run. But they've got all that data. And not only do they have that data, they have control. How much control do you ask?
All of it.
Well, look at it like this. I have been doing shows and conversations with Walter for almost a decade because YouTube, in all of its infinite wisdom, decided to recommend to me a flat earth video. Somewhere, somebody wrote an algorithm to control the videos in such a way that they thought I should be watching a flat earth video. And there you go.
Man,
as a result,
that's not, but even YouTube falls to the capricious whims and fancies of the universe. You know what I mean? That wasn't just YouTube algorithms, man. That was you waking yourself up, you know, in this
and that residual. Sounds good. But we know we do have YouTube algorithms. We know those exist.
Yeah. I'm just embellishing it beyond that. Of course, you know, all I know is YouTube and all I can understand are algorithms. I get it. But I also tend to believe that the entirety of our existence isn't an accident. It's sentient. It knows the beginning and the end and everything in between. And it can conjure up any moment in time that it wants to, understand that moment in time while everything else is going on and not lose a step. Right? I'm talking about God, right? I don't know. You know, I've never met God, but that's what it would take to be that thing, to be in charge of all of this with all of these synapses firing. You know, like think about even karma for a moment, right? Even if you don't believe in God, if you're, you know, Eastern spiritual, you believe in karma. So who's in control of that? Because karma means that you get what you give, right? You put in.
Come back in your next life, and how good you were as a person before determines what you're going to end up being in your next life.
Right, but
so
my point.
If you're a big ass dickhead, you know, shithead.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be a dung beetle for your next life.
Well,
you're
okay.
Gonna put shit around.
I think it's a little more finely nuanced than that, but I totally get what you're saying.
What they, you know,
because
some of their,
one of the things that I was saying in my conversations, and I've had some really amazing conversations this past week that have made me almost rethink my desire to, pack it up from here, because I've got this niche down and I know where I'm at. I know what I'm doing. I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm having amazing conversations and I want to see where it can go. But I was having a conversation with someone, exactly about this. And it was just so interesting to be able to talk to somebody who wasn't exactly where I'm at, but was still aware enough to have that kind of a conversation. It's just been really I don't know, encouraging. I don't know. If you didn't notice, I completely lost track of what I was saying and then just started spitballing because I couldn't remember. I couldn't get the thought back. So that's what happened.
I do that quite often.
So there's a kiss for you. That's my first one. But if I'm allowed to just be whatever I am right now, like I had this realization.
You're not. You're not. You're a boy.
If you could be something else, that'd be cool too.
You can't be whatever you want, Travis.
I've got a list of things I would much rather you be. You could just pick one off that list.
All right, well, tell me what they are. Yeah, let me know.
No, go ahead.
And I hope that I can paint this picture that's in my head because it's very obvious and like an aha for me. Okay, so 27 years ago, there is no YouTube, there is no Tubi, there is no streaming services, nothing but one radio, one television station, one television show that everybody tuned into 27 years ago. Before there was streaming and DVR and all of that, there was The Truman Show, a movie about the entire world watching the most mundane events in a man's life. Everything is there 24 hours a day. Everything this man does is on camera, and people watch it at different times. I don't want to watch it when he wakes up and takes a bath. I know when that is. Papa, he's got a regiment. I know when to tune in. But nonetheless, everybody in the world is watching one channel, one content creator whose name is Christoph, and that is his, in a sense, in this allegory that I'm just spinning off the top of my head right now, YouTube. So imagine that Christoph creates this network called YouTube. There's only one channel, there's only one show, but everybody is watching that one show. That's 27 years ago. That story we all think is like, oh yeah, you know, they're hiding things from us, and you know, the world is not what we think it is. Yeah. Not just that. Get ready, right? Because you are Truman. Right now, in some fashion, you are either watching or listening to someone else through this medium, and you're watching them bake cookies or gut a fish or, you know, wait for their 8-point buck to walk in. Like, everybody's watching Truman. Everyone is Truman. You see what happened? Like, I'm Truman. On my channel right now, I'm pretending like I have an audience. You know what I mean? Like, except it's the exact opposite of Truman. Truman didn't know that he had an audience of the entire world. And he didn't know it. He was like, oh, I don't want this on.
That's what made it interesting.
Right? But nonetheless, you have, like, just if you don't know what TikTok is, this is what TikTok is. Wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, open up TikTok, see who's live, and watch how many people are just lying in bed. This is the host. Lying in bed, waking up, going, hey guys, what's going on? I just woke up. People by the thousands tune in to watch this woman wake up and talk about whatever's in her. So I'm telling you, that's what we are all in this Truman. Now there's just millions of us. Right? Because I'm creating content for someone else to watch either in real time right now. Shout out to Liz and whoever else, you know, Brian CV. Like, there's people then who are then watching this show at this particular time. So I'm a Truman. Cami's a Truman. Josh and Walt, and we're all a Truman in this show.
Now think of it this way, Trav.
Yeah.
So when you're on these live streams and stuff like that, what if, you know, the mega elite, we'll just say the magic people, the wizards and witches in Harry Potter, you know, that class, up there. What if when you turn off all that stuff and you actually think you're home alone, that's when they turn on and watch you through all these devices and all these different cameras that are in your phones, they're in your televisions, they're in your computers. Let's go see what Travis is doing today. Well, he's live right now. Okay, well, I'll set up notification for when he turns off his live stream. And then he'll go about his normal day, and that's when we watch. So we all could really be Truman. You could have a crowd of, 100,000 people watching you do your daily thing every day. That could be taking place right now.
I know. That's what's so fucking surreal about this whole thing. I get what you're saying. Absolutely. I've thought about that, and my mind goes, but I think that what you have to offer is light, life, and love. And I think that Cami has the same to offer, and Josh, and we're all here because we believe that our contribution is more than ourselves, more than just what we think, more than just what we have an opinion about, right? So that's why I'm creating what I'm creating. Like, somebody could say to me, oh, look, you're just an egotist, you're just an egoist, you're a narcissist, you just like to hear the sultry sound of your own voice. I'm like, yeah, that's all true. But what about what I'm saying? Because that's why I'm creating the content I'm creating, is the message that I have is monumental and will be the future of science. The stuff that we're talking about, the stuff that Cami has yet to say, right? Because she's brilliant. Like, who knows? Who knows what she's thinking? Like, nobody knows us. Nobody knows this little niche of nut jobs. But she's doing amazing.
With this AI, they are getting
really
crazily close at, or really good at guessing what you're going to do next.
Right.
Yeah. That's the crazy part. They started even talking about, we're going to be kind of like, what's that movie with Tom Cruise? Minority Report. Where we're going to do pre-crime. Where we suspect that you're about to commit a crime. We'll just come and stop you. We're not going to wait for you to start to act. We're going to do it before you act.
Yeah. So look, watch. If you have a relationship with someone in real life where you don't know what's real, get out of that relationship. That's like what Zack just kind of described, because that's what Minority Report is. Like, you don't know, like, I don't know if what you're telling me is true or if you're trying to manipulate me. And, and that's where you're like in that twilight zone of trying to figure this stuff out. And that's why you need people like us to talk about this, because you might have this experience but not know what you experienced, and then so it's like, that's why we have these conversations, because somebody would go like, oh, wait a minute, I think it's all like fitting into place right now.
And so even though the Whitley Strieber books back in the 90s became known as abduction books, that he talked about his abduction experiences, that was mostly the first book, which was Communion. As it progressed and this experience he was going through changed and evolved, he quickly became, that actually happened in the first book too, where he became really quickly convinced these things had nothing to do with space or faraway stars or any of that shit, that they were here and they had always been here. They'd always interacted with us in a way that did things to change us spiritually, physically, emotionally, whatever. For their own ends, for our ends, for whose ends, all that is the mystery that he began to try to unravel in his
Who's this again? I'm sorry, who's this again?
Whitley Strieber. He wrote a book called Communion about his abduction. He was a famous author. He was getting to the level of Stephen King. He had like 3 movies made out of his books. Before he was abducted, he was well known. And so then he had this experience that he recalled one night out of nowhere, talked to the people who were actually at his cabin, who also had that experience. They began to remember these things which had been suppressed, and they all freaked the fuck out. So he wrote the book, took it to his publisher. His publisher wouldn't fucking publish it because they didn't want to ruin their money horse. So he had to take it to another, and he only wanted to publish it as nonfiction, and they wouldn't do it. They only would put it out as a novel. So he had to go to a different publisher, quit contracts and all that.
So, okay, look, my skeptical mind is like, okay, like I want to know the backstory. Because if you're the one guy that starts to think about a memory that you had, but you're not sure if it's a memory, like, what am I remembering right now? Like, you're remembering the abduction, but you don't know what you're remembering. So it's like, how are you going to start putting putting those pieces together? And then when you see something that doesn't necessarily correspond to reality, you're like, who do I go to talk about this with? Like, that
was a huge part of it back then. I mean, back then there weren't shows every other night about UFOs, and there wasn't Ancient Aliens on whatever channel, and there wasn't YouTube with all the stuff we see. It was strictly him having an experience that had altered him in a great way, and he needed to share it, and his publisher would. So as it progressed, like I said, it became clear to him that, like, historically these things were called different things, little people, fairies, whatever. Always children, changelings would be, part of it. There was always some kind of birth issue and tied up into their comings and goings and all this stuff. So anyway, the point is, as it progressed, he began to be shown things. He began to experience things, out-of-body experiences. It was crazy when he started talking about his first time out of body and seeing the gray haze on everything. It flipped me out because I'd been seeing that every time and had never read about it in a book. And just all these different things. So in one of his experiences, he is shown this place. He called it a plane. He didn't call it a planet. He didn't call it a place. He called it a plane. And on that plane, there was this field of yellow flowers. And he was told that field of these yellow flowers was where the sins of the world were buried. And right beyond that field of yellow flowers was what felt like a city, but not like our cities, just a conglomeration of people, entities, beings, whatever. But for some reason, it felt empty, not deserted, just at the time he was basically flying over it and seeing these things, he could tell that every building had nobody in it. And then he could see this central area in this city that looked sort of like a coliseum. And as he got to that area, he realized that what was going on in that coliseum was this experience of people watching our lives, these beings watching our lives, but not just watching our lives. There was a place that you could go into and step into a person and be that person for a while.
Oh my God. Stop talking.
Right, dude? I know, right?
My mind, man.
You need to go read the communion.
Listen, stop this right now. Like, I wanted to stop you. I felt like I was listening to you talk about something that you were just making up, but at the same time, it was like making sense, and I was following along.
Absolutely.
I'm like, where is he getting this information? So all of this information that you just...
Right. Well, all this was from Whitley, but I was lucky enough. I went to a few different... they were called Project Awareness. It was like the early days of doing conventions and stuff. And so I went to a few of those where he was going to speak because his stuff touched me greatly. I was going through a lot of the same things he had been through. And so got to hang out. We stayed at the same hotel and we had breakfast together. We had time on the beach talking about these experiences, and I asked him over and over.
This is the communion guy?
The communion guy, Whitley, yeah. And I asked him numerous times. I'm like, okay, so you keep getting all this great result from these horrific experiences you're going through, because they were what I was going through. And I'm like, dude, I've never felt like, oh, our space brothers are here to save us, I never felt that. It was terror, sheer terror in every aspect. And I'm like, so how can that be? To me, an enlightened being doesn't commit those kinds of atrocities upon another being. And, that to me seems evil. And he was like, well, and I was like, dude, there's people at the time I didn't know, but there's people getting freaking good results out of being kidnapped, out of being, whatever. That's their soul and spirit making that happen. It wasn't a good experience. It was a horrible experience, but they were able to grow from it. So maybe that's what they're doing here, whatever. And that was the thing he kept coming back to is it's changing him in positive ways. So he's going to still go with it as a positive outcome. But anyway, the whole idea of that thing you were saying about us all being in the Truman Show, it's probably on so many levels so true that it's insane. And that whole idea of him stepping into that lady and dancing and stepping into that young child's body and playing in the, like, you really need to read these books. Thinking back on some of it, it so coalesces into the things we all are trying to figure out right now.
And the crazy part about the story you were talking about earlier, about how it's like a memory that you can't remember. You know, I have one of those. The human brain, I don't know, I don't think they have any clue why it does it. But some things are just so traumatic that you can't remember that it happened. Even though you're standing right there, you're watching it take place, you saw it, but you can't recall that memory. There's like something happens. It's like you have a VHS or a DVD that always skips in one spot. Like it skips this line.
It's deja vu. It's a glitch in the fucking matrix, man.
Yeah, I've had this, but it was a very traumatic thing. It was a motorcycle accident that I saw when I was 14. And I remember up to the point, and then I remember just waking up in my room, sitting on my chair like, what's going on? Where am I?
So you were in the accident?
No, I just saw it happen.
So how did you see it happen?
I was playing hide and go seek, ditch, and I was hiding. It was dark out, and this motorcycle came flying down the road doing like at least 105, they said. And I watched my buddy's dad pull out of it was only 35 miles an hour right there. So he saw a light way down the road and thought, oh, I got plenty of time to pull out and, take off. And he backed out. And as soon as he backed out, the bike just smashed into the back of his minivan. And I was like in the person's front yard, right where it happened. Like
you were out there at
street.
That. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember right up to the point of impact, pretty much. I remember the girl going flying off like a Roman candle on fire a little bit. I've been able to recall that one. But then everything after that is just like gone. I wake up in my room. And that's my next memory.
You're Donnie Darko.
Weird, but this isn't just me. This is a lot of people who have had traumatic things happen to them, or that they've seen, that their brain just cuts off, says, nope, we're not going to put that one in the memory store.
Yeah, but that's so crazy, though, because you know that, I don't know, but I'm just going to conjecture because it just makes sense that we have the ability to rewind the mental tape of our mind and go back as far as we want into our own memory. Like, that's who we are. We don't know how to do it. We should be able to do that. Like, even to recall what Zach's saying, like, he should be able to crack that code and go back there.
Or do I want to?
Yeah. All of those things. Yeah, absolutely. Right? Everybody is at that different level, right? So he might not be, right. But he's talking about it. It's something that he experiences, repeatedly as his physiology brings it up, whatever, So I'm just talking out loud about generalization of, whatever these things mean, these hints and allegations that the universe gives us that it's actually not forgotten about us, Well,
I haven't really dug deeply into the whole, abductions experience. There was a psychiatrist, John Mack, who kept getting these patients who would describe this experience, and they kept coming across to him as giving off the same psychological profile and the same, emotional reactions as someone who had been raped. And that really intrigued him because that doesn't usually come across in anything else except someone who's actually been raped. And so that made him dig deep, and to the point that he found all these people that experienced these same types of things with these same really bizarre entities and doing horrible different things to them. Usually had to do with their children, their unborn children, their genetic makeup, things like that. And so he was I believe he was a Harvard guy. He was like that level of, known in the community of of his profession. And he put all that at stake to put out that book saying, look, there's something going on with these people. This is happening. And the memory erasure that happens with traumatic things like you're talking about, that happens to rape victims, that happens to people who are abused by their, whoever growing up. It is definitely a factor, both in a protective manner and when you can deal with it, it'll happen, it'll come back, that kind of thing. In fact, right now I'm rereading the Eagle's Gift, which is one of the Carlos Castaneda books. I think it's like the third, more like maybe the fifth book. And in it, Carlos is going through this experience with this lady who is part of a group. They do this. It's all about Yaqui native shamanism is what the whole book is about. And so he's going through all these experiences that are like literally otherworldly. But he also goes through experiences he thinks are real world experiences that he's going through at daily work things and all that. But then he finds out he was leading a dual fucking life because this guy, Juan Matus, who was his shaman teacher, had abilities to alter his perceptions in an instant, like striking certain areas of his body, certain tones he could sing out, things like that. He would literally alter Carlos in that manner. In the real world, these things were happening, and he was leading a dual life. Dude, it's nuts. And so he and this lady started uncovering that they met this whole other group of sorcerers through Don Juan, who were his people, his tribe, his group. And they didn't even remember any. I'm getting chills telling you because the book is really freaking me out right now when I'm reading it again. And so, yeah, him uncovering these memories of living a dual life, truly, every day of his life, he was living a dual life. It's just the most insane shit. Yeah, another series of books.
Was it knowingly? Or was it like
it was being done to him by Don Juan and by this other gentleman named Silvio. His name matters too. Anyway, they were doing these things to get him prepared to become the next group leader of this little, and it's a whole thing about some are seers, some are dreamers, some are stalkers. It's a whole thing, and it would take me hours to get into it. But it's a lot of what we deal with, and that's why I went back to reading those books again.
Wow.
So those are another group
that
of books
sounds
that touch on stuff.
So like dense. Like I can't even imagine dipping my toe in that direction right now.
It's pretty heavy. I had read those books when I was in college, probably in my 20s. And then my buddy who used to hang out with us in chat a lot, hasn't in a while, Trippy McGee, he and I, we had some interesting times when we put our will and our intent to it, through that same idea of warrior's intent. That's what it's all about. Anyway, I don't want to get us sidetracked on all that because it's a whole other thing, but definitely that idea of memory being so malleable and us not even knowing it's happening, that so just breaks my brain.
Well, as an anecdote, I had this memory of working in a restaurant, and I can see myself going into it, like logging in and checking and worrying about which section I was going to have that night and checking this, that, or the other. And I remember this memory over and over and over again, and I'm 25 years old, and then I'm 37 years old, and I've got this memory that comes up every once in a while, and it's like there. Now I'm 40, and then now I'm right now, and that never happened. It was a dream. Because I never worked in that place. Those people never existed. That restaurant wasn't real.
I have dreams that I could swear are real. And they pop into my head all the time. But some of them are so fantastical that I know there's no way that it happened. But
I know that I've
multiple times in my dreams. And then I have memories of like my dreams of me being there. It's weird. Like, you'll see something and it brings back a memory, or hear a song and it brings back a memory. Well, I'll see something. I need to pay attention to that. What brings forth this memory? But
Well,
yeah, it's
my
crazy.
whole philosophy right now on what we're talking about is that we are a duality because there is another Travis that I am not aware of, and that is my stalking butler. I think, as Tool phrased it in Sober. I think it's called stalking butler. He says something like, hovering like a stalking butler. But we have this other id. We have this other I. That thing that tells you those dark things that you don't want to think about, or I would never say that to myself. Then who is that is saying that to yourself, right? Then who is that? That's you. But that's not you.
I don't know. There's people who would disagree with you. They would say that there are
that's fine
entities out there that we can't see.
Yeah.
That are all around us. And
okay, but here, how about this?
That voice in your head.
Okay, yeah. I can go with that. So now, how about this, right? So instead of just one voice being in my head, let's say that there are 10 entities trying to talk to me or trying to say things or put thoughts into my head. How do I hear them in my head? Hold on, I'm going to think a thought real quick.
As that same voice you just heard. That's how they come across.
Yeah, but see, that's me. I don't know that that's in it. No. That's
how schizophrenics. That's how schizophrenics hear it. They don't hear it in some different weird voice or an actual audible noise. They hear their voice in their head saying this crazy stuff.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to dispute that because I don't have that.
Yeah,
experience.
This is all I've learned from. I don't have that either, but this is what Jerry Merzinski, a gentleman who's 30 years of working with schizophrenics exclusively.
I thought they had disembodied voices. I didn't think it was necessarily.
It does happen where they do hear other actual voices, but
right. So then that goes
the majority of the time it is in their own voice.
Yeah. So that goes outside my pay grade, right? Because we talked about this before. I think it was last week, Zach, where you said, red balloon, or whatever. You're a very, very visual thinker or whatever. You know what I mean? So like I get it that certain people don't think along those lines and they see things differently, and you can get to the math, you can get to the result of the equation in a much quicker way than someone else, but you still get there. You know what I mean? So I get that we see things differently, and that's why I think that the conversation could be so interesting. If you just leave it open to the fact that like this is just my experience, like what's yours? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, you need to see. I mean, the first show was great with Jerry. Blew my mind, changed my whole life. But the second show with Jerry, he actually brought on one of his
people.
Well, yeah, a lady
what show
who works
are we
with
talking
him.
about?
I Have No Sphere on a Friday night. But it was one of his patients, someone who has recovered that Jerry actually helped to get rid of the voices.
Yeah.
He came on and spoke for a while, very openly. It was awesome, dude. Just an amazing conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, really, truly is. He's actually been having quite a few great shows of late. I've been checking Jerry's channel out every time something new pops up, and yeah, it's a deep well. Dig deep.
So let me just come back around and say, okay, in my experience, for me, I only hear me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like, so if someone was going to say to me, you know that's a demon entity speaking to you, I was like, how would I know that? Because
you don't. That's the trick.
Yeah.
That's the hook.
Yeah. But see, like, what's the evidence for that? Hold on.
You know inside your heart when you have that crazy thought of, I'm just going to smash into this oncoming car. Just a flash in the pan. All of a sudden you're driving down the road, singing a cool song or whatever, and all of a sudden, I'm going to just drive right into this car. That's not you. That's not you. That's them fishing. They do it to all of us. It's not just schizophrenics that hear these voices. We all do. But schizophrenics, they get a bite. They get a real reaction with the schizophrenic. That acts upon these planted ideas.
Yeah.
So
wait. So let me ask you. Okay. So what is the spectrum of like what these entities will put in. How can I ask this question? You're saying to me that in this scenario, that the suggestion in my mind to drive into a oncoming car, right? That thought can be isolated to something that's not me, because why would I ever want to harm myself? So then that can't be me, right? And so then when I hear that, like, how am I supposed to know that that's not me? Like this whole dance in my head, I'm just swimming right now. This is
You're
just
not
blowing
supposed
my
to
mind.
know, Travis. You're not. That's the rub, you know. But inside, you know, when you have to think to yourself, why did I think that? It's because
Thank you. I was waiting till you finished so I could say, when you have one of those weird thoughts and then immediately think, what the fuck? That's them, dude. Like me, Ian saying it right there in chat. If it's a negative thought, it comes from them. Why would you hurt yourself? Why would you hurt your cat? Remember when Patricia Steer was on and we were talking about this with her, and she was like, yeah, you're sitting there cutting chicken and you think, I could cut my cat's leg off. What the fuck's that about? I remember that exact thing she said, that instance of it. Was like, yeah, there you go. Why would you fucking ever think such a thing?
Just have that thought. Where did that come from? Yeah, because it wasn't you. When you have to ask the question, you know, where did that thought come from?
Yeah. So let me try to go back to what I was thinking before real quick, because if we're talking about a suicidal tendency, you know, I get that. So then is that the only thing that it does as an influence, or does it do everything negative? Like, say, I want to change this about my life. Is this entity the voice that says, you don't really want to give up drinking, do you? I mean,
I'm not sure.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
It could also be that one that's going, yeah, but you're a real piece of shit. It's not necessarily, hey, you don't want to give up drinking, but it's, God, you're so fucking worthless. You know, every time she said that, she was right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's my question, right? So where's this entity? Does he exist? So that all of those negative thoughts is this thing, because
it gets crazier than that, Travis.
Hold on. I'm sorry. So like a month ago or something, I drive for Uber, right? I have tons of times to think. I have this script in my head right now where this alien comes and it's like body snatchers, right? This alien comes and inhabits my body. And so then the alien is sentient and knows itself as I. But then the alien doesn't know that I am I, for me, that he then just possesses. So then he then starts to have his thoughts, and he thinks he's in control of my hands. But at the same time, I'm there in the residue, and I'm trying to figure what the fuck's happening to me, because these are like, I don't want to act this way, but I feel like I'm supposed to start to think this way. This is just like this weird science fiction, like Black Mirror episode in my mind right now. You should take notes. This is a very good idea. And then, so this alien that took over Travis's body thinks that his I thoughts, when he says, I am now going to do this, is just him. But he doesn't know that actually there's now no separating my connection through, you know, neurosis or whatever those, those, I don't know, synapse kind of connections that happen in your brain. You know what I mean? Like, now my thoughts are, hey, I don't want to go in this direction. And he's like, who the fuck said that? Like, I'm the only one here. Like, why did I just think about doing the opposite of what I want to do? Like, that's what it would be like. That would be insane.
Okay, think of it this way, Trav. You know, like telemarketers, right? They have a script in front of them that they read. They call you and they say, hello, Mr. Finley, blah, 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 you know, and they go through their little script. That is how these things interact with us. Jerry would say he knew what the voice in the head was going to say to the person before it would even say it to the person.
Okay, so now we're talking about adepts, right? People who have a higher level of consciousness, because I think that that's what that would be like. Like, that person is closer to being a Jedi than I am at this point. When you're at that level of having that much acuity in terms of what you're describing, Zach.
Yeah, 30 years of, you know, studying these people, and these people are from different places, never met each other. All are saying that the voices are saying the exact same things to them.
Maybe not the exact, but very similar. It's
very
always
similar,
negative.
yeah.
It's always dark.
the best
I'm sorry.
I used to work. I used to sell. Oh, go ahead.
Why can't that just be me? Why do you have to appeal to an entity? That's what my zetetic mind goes to, right? Because after all, I don't believe anything unless I can say it. So, like, if I never thought of my I being someone else than I, where would I ever get that idea? Except if you came at me with it, and then I would say, where did you get that idea? Because all you've ever known is I. So you wouldn't have told on yourself, so to speak. Like, how did you get this information?
From the entities. Right? That's where Jerry's coming from.
Because not all of us are always tied up into them. Some of us have been fighting them since we got here.
Well, the common theme in psychiatry and psychology is that it is them, right? It's a mental issue. There is no entity. This is some mental defect that is individual to all of these schizophrenics. And that's why you don't encourage them to listen to the voices, right? You don't pretend that the voices are real because it's all internal. Yeah. But Jerry says, no. What if we talk to the voices through these people? And that's when he started noticing all these patterns. He's okay, well, what do the voices say? So he starts treating these patients by acknowledging the voices and talking to them through.
Real-time Sixth Sense, like, kind of shit.
Yeah.
What you're describing,
your brain will break when you go back and listen to this Jerry episode.
He still puts stuff out
really well.
I'm subscribed.
And there's still stuff happening.
Yeah, Jerry still
I hit it regular. Ian in chat, I saw say the same thing. He watches Jerry all the time too. I mean, it's like it's when they started talking to him, that's when it really got like, oh fuck. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. So
what if
I'll
find it, link it to you.
Yeah, please do. I mean, it's interesting to even try to wrap my brain around it, but.
So I have two things real quick. And one I had for just a second and lost. The other one was a guy named Edward Mordrake. Are you familiar with Edward Mordrake?
No.
All right, so I'm just going to read this off of Wikipedia because it's going to be the easiest. So I'm just going to start right here. It's an account described Mordrake's figure as one with remarkable grace, talking about how he looks, basically. And it was similar to that of Antinius, whoever the hell Antinius was. But the second face on the back of Mordrake's head, supposedly female, reportedly had a pair of eyes and a mouth that drooled. The duplicate face could not see or speak, but it was said to sneer while Mordrake was happy and smile while Mordrake was weeping. According to the legend, Mordrake repeatedly begged doctors to have his demon face removed, claiming that at night it whispered things that, quote, one would only speak about in hell, end quote. But no doctor would attempt it.
God, this is crazy.
This then led to Mordrake secluding himself in a room before deciding to take his own life at the age of 23.
Oh my God, that is wild. But I could feel everything. Like I could understand and relate to every single word that you read.
So there was an account of Mordrake's story detailed in the anomalies and curiosities of medicine. And they do a pretty good job describing it too.
Man.
One of the weirdest and most most melancholy stories of human deformity.
I'm intrigued. I want to listen to more. That was great. I loved it.
So there's a whole school of thought that says that we're all twins in the womb.
Uh-huh.
And either a reabsorption occurs, or a fight occurs, or an abduction occurs. And that twin is taken. And I know whatever, but these are things I've dug into quite a bit. And that to me speaks hugely of that idea of that reabsorption not finishing, that being a conduit for whatever latching on to this gentleman and causing him fucking hell, obviously.
You lost me. I got lost on that one.
So he has a face on the back of his head. If you were trying to reabsorb in the cellular state or in even the prenatal state.
Wait. So we're talking about a living human being who has a twin that is not it wasn't, the cell didn't divide properly. Basically, is that what you're describing? Something like that?
Right. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
All the time. Andy Garcia, the actor, absorbed his twin. I think he had one like, I think it was almost like Mordrak. I think.
See, that's a joke. That's a joke in the My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
People have had teeth in their hips.
Yeah,
kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's an inside joke in that movie, and I've never thought anything about it until just recently, or for whatever reason. But I find this conversation absolutely fascinating. Oh, here's what I was going to say because of what you said about schizophrenics, right? Is the Prime movie, the cartoon series Undone, because it links shamanism to schizophrenia, because they have the same ventricles at least in the show. They make the claim in the show that's not a medical show, right? It's just for entertainment purposes, right? But they show that when you scan the shaman's brain and the schizophrenic's brain, they're the same. Like they're built and they're wired for that same frequency. So then that's why they hear the same voices. It's just that the shaman is raised in a culture where they understand that you are one of the seers. Well, then you need to go see the youngest seer, and he'll tell you how to, understand who you are. Right? But then the people who don't have that guidance and hear voices and like, what the fuck is going on? Just stop. Like they, they're supposed to hear those voices, but they don't have a filter. They don't know what it is. But they're not crazy. They don't need to be sedated. They need to be trained as a Jedi, just like you and I do.
You want to have your mind blown about these. Oh, go ahead, Walter.
Well, before we get too far, this is from the National Library of Medicine. Vanishing twin syndrome, as the name depicts, is a condition in which one of a set of twins or multiple embryos dies in utero, disappears, or gets reabsorbed partially or entirely with an outcome of spontaneous reduction of a multi-fetus pregnancy to a single pregnancy, portraying the image of a vanishing twin. In simplest words, go ahead.
Guess what my synthetic asshole brain is saying right now?
Uh-huh.
How the fuck did you know this to begin with? Like, you would have to have... No, hold on. I'm just saying, you would have to have known that this woman had triplets. You would had to have known that she had them. Otherwise, when she only had one baby, how did you know she had 3 before? And now there's only 1. You get the problem that I'm having?
I had a grandmother who knew every birth before, like she knew what the sex would be. Okay. From the way the baby was being carried, from the way the mother's facial features would change. My grandmother had a lot of Native American in her. So, I mean, we know there are people like what we're saying here, these people who have these voices, who see these things, don't get diagnosed correctly, and they turn out to be, people Jerry would deal with. But people in the culture become the shaman, become the magician, becomes the sorcerer. So this idea that there are people who know these things, I mean, that to me is what I grew up with. So it's not a outside the box type of thinking. But this idea of the vanishing twin has been confirmed since the advent of ultrasound.
Because they've had ultrasound for quite a while.
This ain't Joe's Psycho Crazy website. This is the National Library of Medicine. So, and which ain't fuck medicine, but you know what I'm saying. This has been documented. It's not just crazy talk.
Hear you. No, man, I hear you. But at the same time, I think my at least conundrum is valid, because you would have to have known that there were 3 or 4 or 5. Like, you should have had quintuplets. Like, where did they go? And then you were like, because then it's already happened. Like, you can't do it. Like, you didn't know it was going to happen. Like, they weren't filming it all in one event. Like, we didn't know it was, look at this event that we actually didn't know was happening. Look, the twins are actually turning on each other. Like, they didn't capture this in real time.
But some of the times, I'm kind of scanning through the list here, and I mean, it talked about things like there would be more than one, what they call gestational sac, the afterbirth. You would know, okay, well, this was not just, there was something going on here more than just this one who's in this fucking sac. There's 2 more sacs. That kind of thing. I mean, there's been evidence of it prior to ultrasound. Here, I'll send you the article. Hang on.
Anyway, like you're talking about something that you have a lot of familiarity with, but to me, I'm just thinking like, my God, this is just another like mind-blowing amount of information.
Oh, absolutely. It is a lot.
Drive you insane if you let it.
Yeah. That is so fucking crazy true, man. And
That's
it's
why
so
I quit
weird.
looking at the sky, Travis, and trying to figure it out.
Oh my God,
I
man.
literally was going crazy because it was making less and less sense the more I learned. And it wasn't learning by reading a book; it was learning by going out and measuring. You know, it's not supposed to make sense. That's the conclusion I came to.
I don't know, man. I think I'm getting pretty close, man.
I think Cami's got some ideas.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. Cami, come on.
Blowing my mind.
Blow us out of the water, Cami. Tell us something amazing.
Yeah, just the stuff, and it's crazy because it's like it's meant to be figured out at certain times.
Yeah.
Like we were just talking about it. We had Crow on, Glowbusters. We were talking about it, this and that, and then she sees this article that just opens everything up. Like, yeah, this happens. This happens naturally. Here's the chart that NASA and all them use to show this happening, and yada. It's like, what?
Right. Yeah. Well, it becomes this whole, that's like an example. I think you might agree. That's an example of the Matrix, because they're looking at the same thing you are, but they're interpreting the data completely different than you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all on a heliocentric model basis.
Right. He can't not see what he has been programmed to see.
But yeah, just mind-blowing stuff. I can't wait till she has some time to sit down and think about it and put together her presentation. And yeah, we're working out on Glowbusters Tech right now. We covered just polarization of the sky.
Yeah.
Before we got into the birefringence of gases and this and that, and all this crazy stuff.
I think you said it earlier this morning. That you are looking up at the sky, you're looking for the moon, you can't see it, and then you look back and go, fuck, where did she get? It just came out of nowhere.
Just right there. Yeah, it
exactly.
Come up over the horizon. It's just right there.
I know, right? Yeah. So like, that's the way I felt on Monday, which would have been realistically day 2 of the new moon, but I couldn't see it the night before because of cloud cover. So the very next day it was clear. I was so excited. So I went out and tried to find this place, and I got set up. I got my cameras out. I'm looking and I'm looking everywhere, and I cannot see it. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, smile in the sky. And I just felt like alive, and I was like, I found you. There you are, but it's like, I've been looking, like, where the fuck did you come from? Because I was just looking there, and you weren't there. And so there's this polarization thing, like I call it the cloaking device of solar polarization. Like, so, the closer you are to King Solaris, if you want to look him in the eye, if you dare, it'll blind you. So then how far out from his radiance can you actually see in safety? That's the perimeter, right? That is the polarization of the field that charges and discharges the moon. And it's the opposite. When the moon gets closer to the sun, it loses its light. And then when it moves away, it increases in its light. And then when it's directly across, they have every single angle of the moon's position has a reciprocal angle in the opposite phase. So if you have the waning gibbous, it has a direct opposite corollary in the waxing crescent, the exact opposite phase. But the light will match. If you understand what I'm saying, right? So then when that polarization then lines up with the new moon, you can't see it because the polarization in that radiant amount of diameter or whatever it is of the sun's glory won't let you. So then think about this, right? You look for the moon in, like, you knew where it was yesterday. You saw it in the daytime around 10 o'clock in the morning, which means that it came up around 7, because you only saw it when it was like maybe 40 degrees, 45 degrees in the sky. But it's in the daytime sky, which means the sun is ahead of it in the sky, right? So you have to think about, just kind of keep those, those three body problems kind of a, that's a consideration to, like, where is everything, right? So then when you can't see the moon the next day, you're like, oh, I saw it at 10 o'clock yesterday, so I'm going to look around, and I know I can't see it. I know it's up there. I can't see it. It's because the sun is still too close to it with its polarizing light. But as soon as the sun gets far enough away, it's like a cascading cloak that just falls off the moon, and ring, there she is. But it's like this evanescent transition, and you can't fucking catch it. Like, that just boggles my mind and makes me want to, like, that's my leprechaun. Like, I'm going to catch that Twilight Zone. Yeah, man. Anyway, when I saw her, I was just so alive, and I was just like, I found you. I was just so happy. I was like, this is what it must have felt like to just not have anything to worry about, but what's the sky doing? And I don't know, man. It was just an amazing feeling.
Oh man, coffee needs to kick in.
So I have dropped the replay we did because for some reason, I can't imagine why, we were on our backup channel the first time we had Jerry. Quite unexpected. Quite unexpectedly, we wound up being struck and had to go to the backup channel after we'd already invited him on. So we did a replay the week he was going to come back, or the week before when he was going to come back on our main channel. So I put the link for the replay on our channel and the show with the lady Sherry that he worked with and the gentleman who went by anonymous on the show, but we started I think we wound up calling him his name within minutes. So before the call,
very open guy.
Yeah, he was amazing. So I dropped all that in this call, and I'm about to go give it to everybody in the chat. I had already dropped the story the article about the twins as well for you guys there. So yeah, if we need to do coffee, I'm sorry guys. I thought I turned it down, but apparently it only turned down the phone volume, not the notification volume.
Come on, buddy.
What are you, new?
That's an awesome. There's a notification. Shout out Archer.
Archer.
I've only seen a little bit of Archer, but I'm sure I would have enjoyed it. Was very naughtily funny.
Cami, watched every season with me. Yeah. Like my 5th or 6th time, probably like my 10th time through on some of them.
That's like a surprise. You would think that it's like the teasing line in the Breakfast Club when John Bender said, "Ooh, obscene finger gestures from such a pristine girl." Like, you wouldn't think that someone like Cami would watch something like that. You know what I mean? She just doesn't have that personality for it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
It's very intelligent humor. That's the coolest part about it. I mean, it's funny even if you're not smart, but if
if you pay attention,
the stuff you learn,
so great.
Like everything they say in there, and they say some crazy shit.
Yeah,
is true.
Yeah,
you go and look it up. Like they'll say a name,
right,
and they're making a joke about something. You go and look it up, and it's exactly about the joke. It's right on. Like, this guy invented the elevator. They're making a joke about an elevator. But yeah, it's very factual. Like, you go and look up the shit they say, and it's real. And false flags and stuff like that. The stuff they say.
Yeah. I know, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. What's up? I'm the in chat knows. Phrasing.
Phrasing. Boom. Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
What does that mean? I don't know what phrasing
You got to
means.
watch the show. You got to watch the show.
You would know if you knew.
Okay. If you know, you know. Hashtag if you know, you know. Ho, 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 ho.
Well, that's because it is what it is. I'm just saying.
Don't you know?
So anyway,
I had a small gator in his driveway. I'm just playing catch up in chat right now and seeing that. So, hey, that's my people there. Oh, that's a baby, 4.5 feet. That's nothing. Yeah, he said that too. Nothing major. That's a baby gator there.
Jeez, you guys are insane. Only 4.5 feet. No thanks.
Sploosh.
Sploosh. No, you cannot. You can't not sploosh. When he comes back from the coma and everything's changed.
Is this still Archer?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll stop. We'll stop.
Comes back from a coma and everything's changed.
Oh, it's great.
Oh yeah, after coma o'clock. That last one. Promise.
Yeah.
Nom, nom.
So,
but yeah, it's. Do you ever watch Bob's Burgers?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say same group of people.
Yeah.
Same type of humor.
You know, the only thing that I think I really enjoy in that kind of a vein was one thing that I came across, and I'm pretty sure you'll know what his name is, but I can't think of it. But the series was called The Midnight Gospel. And
oh yeah, I remember that.
I saw, you know, the creator's name escapes me, but he was already, you know, a presence out in entertainment. But I had never heard of him before and had never known Netflix to have this thing. And I saw it and I was like, oh, I'll just check it out. This is the most, like, this was one of those aha moments that I will remember for the rest of my life. This is like one of those moments. Like, I remember where I was when I first saw, you know, AC/DC, like whatever. Like, I remember, you know, coming to the realization of what I'm, you know, about to talk about or whatever. Like, it was, for me, really, really significant. But, you know, see what happens.
What were you going to talk about now?
Uh-huh. Derp, 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 derp. It
There
just
was
went
one?
away. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Brain fart.
No, man. This is Donnie Burger. Donnie Burger is kicking my ass.
that's about the only thing my wife likes to smoke because she can get so much work done. Helps her focus, she says.
Yeah, man. It is kicking my ass right now. I'm losing so much focus.
Okay, well, here, hold on. Here, I'm going to read the account from Anomalies and Curiosities of Medicine. It's pretty good because it gets into some of his words and what he was going through. Sorry, this being Edward Mordrake. One of the weirdest, as well as the most melancholy stories of human deformity is that of Edward Mordrake, said to have been heir to one of the noblest peerages in England, which I thought was interesting. He never claimed the title, however, and committed suicide in his 22nd year. He lived his life in complete seclusion, refusing the visits of even the members of his own family. He was a young man of fine attainments, a profound scholar and musician of rare ability. His figure was remarkable for its grace, and his face, that is to say, his natural face, was that of Antinius. But upon the back of his head was another face, that of a beautiful girl, quote, lovely as a dream, hideous as the devil, end quote. The female face was a mere mask, quote, occupying only a small portion of the posterior part of the skull, yet exhibiting every sign of intelligence of a malignant sort, however, end quote. It would seem to smile and sneer while Mordrake was weeping. The eyes would follow the movements of the spectator, and the lips, quote, would gibber without ceasing, end quote. No voice was audible, but Mordrake avers that he was kept from his rest at night by the hateful whispers of his, quote, devil twin, end quote.
You're freaking me out, man.
As he called it, quote, which never sleeps, but talks to me forever of such things as they only speak of
this is horror.
in hell. No imagination can conceive the dreadful temptations it sets before me. For some unforgiven wickedness of my forefathers, I am knit to this fiend, for a fiend it surely is. I beg and beseech you to crush it out of human semblance, even if I die for it. End quote. Such were the words of the hapless Mordrake to Manvers and Treadwell, his physicians.
What was? You got to go back to the beginning because you used a word and I didn't recognize it. It had to do with like his like origin or something like that. So like, can you go back to the beginning and read it again?
I sure can. So it's one of the weirdest, most melancholy stories of human deformities, that of Edward Mordrake. And Edward Mordrake is said to have been heir to one of the noblest peerages in England.
That's it. What's a peerage? What is that?
Probably just your lineage.
Okay, so like that's something that I can get the idea of, like I get it, but I don't. I want to know. So I have to look it up.
So
peerages.
Noblest peerages.
How do you spell it?
Peerages. P-E-E-R-A-G-E-S.
P-E-E. Say it again.
P-rages.
P-rages. From my pee-pee.
All right. That's crazy. That's a crazy story.
The rank or title of a peer.
Peerage.
An honorary title.
So let's say, all right, I was just thinking like dukes. If the duke was part of the
Duke of Earl.
A peerage has a role as a system of honor or award, with the granting of a peerage title forming the highest rung of the modern British honors system. Is what I'm reading on various little pop-ups. I haven't actually gone to a page yet, but that seems to be the consensus.
So I just wanted to finish this. There's only a couple sentences left. Let me start back. It says, I beg and beseech you to crush it out of human semblance, even if I die for it. And such were the words of the hapless Mordrake to Manvers and Treadwell, his physicians. In spite of careful watching, he managed to procure poison, whereof he died, leaving a letter requesting that the, quote, demon face, end quote, might be destroyed before his burial, quote, lest it continues its dreadful whisperings in my grave, end quote. At his own request, he was interred in a waste place, without stone or legend to mark his grave.
I don't know, man. That is fantastic. That is like so fantastical that I'm skeptic.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these weird stories. There was a headless chicken that used to be taken around to all the carnivals.
Great writing. I'll tell you what, that's great writing.
Somebody tried to kill a chicken, and I guess maybe just cut it up a little bit too high. So it took the head off, but left the brainstem at the base of the spinal cord.
Uh-huh.
So the chicken was still alive, even though it didn't have a head anymore.
Yeah.
So they used to take it around to the carnivals as part of the freak show. They'd feed it like with an eyedropper through the top of the neck, because that's all there was. I'm telling you, there's some pretty strange shit.
Get
used to go
out
down.
of here.
Yeah, you looked that one up too. That's pretty funny.
I don't know about that one. That one's a little bit much for
I don't
me.
think it was that far long. I mean, it was a ways back, but I think there were still people that were still alive to be interviewed and discussed.
I remember. I was there.
Yep.
Growing up in the era of Ripley's Believe It or Not books, I loved both the idea of these crazy, anomalous things, events, people, creatures, etc., but the artwork, it tied into the love of like drawing that I had at the time too. And so I loved those books, but it would make me always go, wait now, come on. And I would head off to the library and I would start trying to figure out if this was fucking real or not, So yeah, there are insane things that are tied to like freak shows and carnivals and that whole era of entertainment and what was acceptable. It can, like, I don't even want to get into it.
Mike.
It can really turn your fucking hair white.
His name was Mike, just for the record. He was born on April 20th, 1945, and he died on March 17th. Well, that's Sunday, in 1947.
So 3 years old?
It was a male Wyandotte chicken that lived for 18 months after his head had been cut off, surviving most of his brainstem remained intact and didn't bleed to death due to a blood clot. Mike the Headless Chicken.
That is one.
Okay.
What did Charlotte call Fantastic Pig?
Some pig.
That's some pig.
That's some
story.
chicken.
Yeah, that's great literature, but my ex-wife would get pissed when
Liz heard about Mike, even though she's green apparently right now.
Mike the chicken. I was looking for Chili the buffalo and I couldn't find him.
That's how you know your chili was tasty.
Yeah, back in the 80s, Larry, Olin, and Chili, and I could not find any mention of it anywhere. So not everything's on the internet.
Indeed, there are things that are not on the internet. I currently have a cassette of music I've been trying to find the artist for about 25 years, maybe even 30 years. And I've done all the sound hounding and all the lyric searches. And yeah, it's at this point, I'm pretty much convinced it's a demo that my buddy Chad had. It was a buddy of mine here locally in Franklin. It was always turning me on to music by people I'd never heard of. And here's this cassette that he had recorded. It wasn't a real, it was a made cassette. Somebody had recorded for him. I assumed he recorded it for me, whatever. And yeah, for about 35 years now, I've been trying to find out who the hell that is. Because he didn't know. Yeah, it's just a new band I found. I can't remember their name. And so from that point on, that's that band. And I love the music and can't find it. There's that whole freaking what was the name of the show? That was a problem. I don't know the name of it, but that Rose Perez late night thing that I saw Run DMC do Down with the King live, the best version of that I've ever seen. And that doesn't exist. That performance, that show, her history, it's not there. It doesn't exist on the internet, but I watched it every Friday night.
You know what they had in 1947, Travis? Motherfucking cameras. They got pictures of Mike the Headless Chicken. For the record.
I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna let that not be part of my nightmare fuel.
Yeah. I'm good.
Oh, please. Y'all showed Minion.
That's the dog formerly.
Dude, I almost spit.
Yeah, I'm going to shave that off tomorrow. It's coming off.
my buddy Jason, every time he grows his beard out and decides to shave it, as he shaves it, he does basically that same thing. He'll start out with like mutton chops. And
Oh yeah, you got to have fun with it for a little while.
Handlebars. And, oh yeah.
I used to shave half of it.
I'm sure he's done that one as well.
Go talk to people, you know, other people in the house. I used to do that one all the time. Or just shave a big stripe out of it, like across your face. See how long it takes for them to say something. Sometimes people don't really say anything right off the get. It's funny. You know, because it's not like you're seeing someone in public and you're making eye contact and looking them in the face. You just walk in a room and, hey, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, someone might be reading or something, and they listen, or they might be watching something, but they don't, like, look at you and look at your face. And so, yeah. Next time you shave, go mess with the people in your household. Or jump online and see how long it takes people to notice. Sue Finelli in the house.
What's up, Sue?
Hello, Sue.
It looks like it's going to happen again like it did last time. Just about the time everybody finds us again over here on the backup channel, we'll be back on our main channel.
That's the way it works.
What up, Benny boy?
Hey, so is Cami gonna grace us with anything that she's thinking about, or?
I don't know.
I'm beginning to wonder if Donnie didn't get a hold of her.
She's in the background. I don't know if she's. I know she was. Her mouth was hurting her.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's been wearing the. We went out in the public quite a bit this week. She's had her teeth in a lot. And yeah, they were kind of sore. I don't know if she's still. Camera Joe. Camera Joe. No, she said no. It hurts right now. Okay, I understand.
We love her though.
Yeah, we
Send
love
big
you,
hugs.
lady. Yeah, she's listening.
Well, I just want it to be known that I'm very interested. Whenever if she's feeling up to it and it comes on, I'll be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thursday night, 7 Eastern, on Glowbuster channel.
I just have to remember.
Glowbusters Tech. Yeah, you can go back and watch the last one. She started breaking down just a little bit of it, but we didn't want to get any further because it's a lot. So we just started at the beginning, and then we, you know, gave people about an hour worth of stuff to kind of chew on. And then next week, we're going to get into the birefringence of gases and double refraction that takes place and all this crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they know about it. You know, it's not like it's, oh, and I got to show you a video. You know, the second sun stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see, chat. Oh, I gotta go over here, and do a. Yeah, I think it's in here. Okay. Yeah, let me pause this real quick. Turn sound on. Let me share this. This is the SLU Observatory, which is, have you ever heard of that, Trav?
I have not. And you're going to be sharing your screen? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Right.
So the SLU
I'm so
Observatory.
glad you found this for me again, Zach, because I went through that same thing you were talking about doing, having to try to find this on that big, long ass.
Yeah, it's like a
presentation.
10-second clip.
It's like just seconds, right?
Yeah, it's 8 hours and 4 minutes long. It was showing the transit of Mercury. This is Mercury.
Would you
right
drop
here.
that link again with the timer for everybody again, so we can keep this handy for everybody, because it's definitely one that needs to be around.
There we go. I'll drop it in this chat right here. And then I will drop it in the YouTube chat as soon as I'm done playing it. But yeah, listen to what he says right here. Because, you know, Crow and Chris have captured this thing near the sun, and people are calling it the second sun, right? The one we can't see. We're trying to figure out how, and when we...
Plus...
Yeah, we put a polarized
just real
filter.
quick, you remember that period during the wildfires when it kept being caught on, like, just people out at the beach, people walking their dog. It was like happening all over the place during that time, because some kind of weird polarization happening in the sky with that fucking smoke atmosphere.
Yeah, it's the fail-safe code that the program writer developed. These are the glitches in the system that wake us up.
Yeah,
in
this is
the sky computer.
Yeah, this is the SLU host now. SLU is a major observatory. I think they have, what is it? How many? 102,000 subscribers. And this is just on YouTube. They have a website, and you can go and pay money and control where they point the telescope for 15 minutes. And they get all kinds of people watching, and it's all done by donations like that. But they're large observatories. It's crazy. But they're looking at this through a double stack hydrogen alpha filter right here. And listen to what he says right here.
So many interesting and fascinating facts.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still astronomer Bob Berman. You'll be able to tell all your friends. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is that large round thing to the right of the sun? Well, that's our second sun. I don't know if you knew that we had a second sun, but there it is. It's normally hidden from view. NASA and other organizations, they usually hide that stuff away from us. They don't tell us the truth, but you know, there it is. It's true. Anyway, I want to welcome our...
And that's it. Anyway, I'm going to welcome our next guest. And yeah.
Now, I've seen lots of debate on some of the Reddits and the forums about, oh, that's just British humor. He was taking a piss. And so I really want to hear an opinion from some of our people there in chat on your take on his mannerisms during
right, because that was my first, inclination, was that it was an intentional,
But then
British humor can be
after that,
very dry, man.
yeah.
After that, they quit showing both of the suns next to each other.
Uh-huh.
And they would only show you the picture of the one sun. They made sure to cut that part out of it.
Yeah, I know, but that's like, man, you know what? You guys got to check out the missing research. He's made these last 3 or 4 days or so. He's made these parody clips. He uses clips from Waterboy, and then he then overlays his own dialogue down below, so you have to read it. And then he found this Japanese scene that was just perfect. He wrote the perfect parody of a flat earther trying to flat smack a glober, and the glober is beating him up because the flat earther doesn't have enough information. It's brilliant satire, right? And then people are glitching out going, are you a flat earther? I think you would. They can't even appreciate the fact that this guy is writing like comic genius stuff. Like, it's really good. And then he just did one right now, which was this one of Hitler. So he finds this massive like scene with Hitler, and it's in German. So all you hear is "I find the scene to her," and it's like everything, right? But his script below is just like brilliant comedy, and I don't remember why I started talking about that, but I'm going to go get it and get the link, because it's really worth watching. I'll remember why I said it. Something you said made me think of it, but anyway.
Yeah. I'm the in chat. Robot Polisher has been killing it lately. Yeah. I don't know how that person has time to make so many videos at that high quality of editing. It's pretty awesome. Very talented with the video editing. Reminds me of you, Walter. I don't know how you do that stuff you do when you put together those music videos, but I just can't do that stuff. You just have, yeah, it's different.
I appreciate that. Speaking of, we have not played Jeremy's video in for fucking ever, man. We need to do that.
Let's do it. You guys want to take a little break? Listen to a song?
Well, yeah, we can. I wasn't trying to run us out of here. I just was like, when you said that, I was thinking about that when I saw him in chat today. It was like, damn, we need to play his song on a break sometime. But I've been so, preoccupied the last couple of days. I haven't gotten my thoughts out correctly, it seems, quite a few times. So,
big shout out to Commercial Sound and Video. Much love, Nathan.
Yeah.
Huge supporter of Flattoberfest events. Always there to be running around, setting stuff up. And dude, during the event, I don't know who runs around more, Karen or Nathan. I'm not sure. If it's Karen, running to go do something or to just try to hide from people asking her stupid questions, to Nathan running around trying to make sure the audio is just right and perfect. And when it's not, man, you can see it's like business time. It's serious stuff. Yeah.
Liz is asking, what does it mean when it says copyright inside your video? I don't know exactly what you mean. Is it currently saying that next to our video?
Yeah.
Really?
Usually, well, no, I don't know if it means that. I mean, if that's what's happening, but
right. I mean, what would be?
Did she get a
picture of the chicken? Was it photo? I mean,
why did she get a prompt?
Did she get a copyright? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find out. I see Shadow Band recently lost a soulmate pet. Definitely sending out love your way, and then you guys like sending so much love. Benny had a situation where the pet went missing and hasn't been found with a move and a split. And man, I went through that too with that when my dog I was talking about, Spunky, this morning, the last dog I had that broke my heart when she got ran over. It was during a breakup with my wife and I when that happened. So that added like 3 tons of guilt, on it, and let my heart lead me to spend that $6,000 at the hospital, pretty much for naught. But anyway, yeah, guys, sending so much love. If anyone understands right now, I do, and I know you have all been sending amazing waves of love this way. So thank you all so much, and definitely returning it 100-fold without a doubt. And yes, you are correct. Robot Polisher has been killing it lately there in chat. I see that being mentioned a few places. I love that channel.
Thunder Chicken make a post too. Apparently he's flown the coop and is jailbird flown free and clear, back home. And
nice, fucking A, dude. Well, I saw something in one of the to the left on Telegram when I went to go open. I thought this call, I hit that first. I was like, oh shit. And then I got tied up in getting started and never went back to see who that was. So that's so great to hear. Fucking A.
I don't know who those people are. Who are you talking about?
Thunder Chicken? Lee,
Yeah.
you don't know him? Yeah, he's been around for a long time. Forever.
I know that I've heard. Yeah, but I just don't. I haven't seen
He's
anything.
always
But I know I've heard
making
you talk
great
about
impact at events. And yeah, he's just a great dude. He's always been somebody I feel like I've spent a lot of time in past lives with. Like when he and I do have the time to finally talk, I'm like, dude, you and me have done so much shit before together. There's not like, I know that in my soul is a true thing.
Yeah, that
my family.
made me think of the Crosby, Stills, Nash Young song "Deja Vu."
Right?
That made me think of that Crosby, Stills, Nash Young song, "Deja Vu."
Really? Is there an echo in here?
Made me think of Sweet Judy Blue Eyes.
I love that song.
No, there's no echo. It must have been Deja Vu.
Hey, check this out. There is an Easter egg in Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, and I only heard it for the first time when I listened to the song with earbuds, because it's so subtle that, if I'm driving in my tractor truck, I'm not going to hear this little tiny nuance, just this little tiny nuance. Okay. So in Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, like 3/4 of the way through it, there is this, this audio refrain hiccup that is Stephen Stills going, hey, but it's a reverb. It's like, hey, 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 something like that. Right. So there's this, there's that, right.
What have you got to lose?
Yes, exactly. In that point. Right. And he has that little thing. And that's actually my text alert.
Can I tell it like it is? Listen to the baby.
Oh my God, yeah. This is my favorite.
And they take us off live stream for the copyright of Zack singing the song.
Okay. So there's that part where he goes, hey, 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 right? Everyone has heard that part, but a minute before, there is this subtle echo in the same time signature, and it goes, hey. And it's just so subtle, but it's an anticipation of the hey, hey, hey. And I don't think anybody knows it. I don't think anybody knows it.
There was one of those in the song "Shout." Kick my heels back and shout, throw my head back.
Oh, okay.
Come on now.
Yeah.
When he's doing the now wait a minute. And right after he says that, there's a guy in the background that goes, yeah. And so many people have argued that does not take place until I play the song for them and go, listen, hear it.
Yeah.
It's right there. It's in the background. It's not, he doesn't have a microphone or anything, but you hear him go, yeah. And yeah, people don't hear it. It's weird.
Well, that's like those videos where they intentionally put something in that you aren't ready to see. So it says, it has two teams, shirts and skins in basketball, and it says, how many times do the skins pass the ball back and forth? So you're counting that. All the while, there's somebody walking across the screen in a gorilla suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't ever
so you don't ever see it, So, that's just, I think, one of those situations where, excuse me for not being able to twirl 10 things at once.
Yeah, you're listening for this guy's voice and the music, and you're not listening for people shouting things out from the crowd in the back.
Hey, oh my God.
You remember?
Oh my God.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Walt. Go ahead.
Well, Josh, Zack knows the song really well. We talk about it often, The Two Sons and the Sunset from Pink Floyd's Final Cut. That album was one of the first albums to use three-dimensional sound, not just quadraphonic sound, but literally stuff at a 90-degree angle from your head, 40-degree, 20-degree, 80, any direction they could put a three-dimensional.
I have no idea what you're saying. What does that sound like? What are you talking about?
Okay, so back in the day, stereo was two speakers, and that was it, left and right. That was how it was split. That's how records were recorded. That's what music was. And then quadraphonic stereo hit, and that split the music 4 directions. And so you could put a voice speaking some crazy shit far to the right back corner in a Pink Floyd song or that kind of stuff. And they did that. And then in the era of the Final Cut, which was it'd be more like mid 80s, I guess, because The Wall was early 80s, late 79, early 80s. Final Cut was the album after The Wall. And to me, it was just as epic as The Wall. And in it, if you put a head I was one of, putting cans on and laying down on the waterbed with a stack of albums. That was my crack. Before I knew what drugs were, that was my drug. So I would do that and get lost in that mix. To me, that whole thing of moving sounds around your head and having those voices way off in the back, that was, to me, that was artistry. And that was the first album that used totally three-dimensional sound, not just quadraphonic sound. And they used it really well. There were a lot of hidden like you say, Easter egg, little echoey voices, and yeah, it was like listening to me. It was like listening to a movie happen and shit. So it was really great album. Speaking of albums, I currently have Gene Clark's No Other in my rotation. I appreciate that very much, very much, very much. Always open to new music. From Shadow Band, sorry I got lost here trying to shut the music off in my ear. So.
Oh man,
I can totally hear.
There was. Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
No. What Zack just did triggered in my mind, I think, a sound effect or a sound bite from Super Mario Brothers.
100%.
Level 1, 2.
Is that what you did?
Mm-hmm.
You intentionally made that noise, and it was, and I had enough, experience in my.
You named that tune in 3 notes.
I haven't heard those bars or whatever that organization of those notes in how many fucking years? And I'm like,
right, but it locked in immediately. Yep.
Yep.
Those sound cues.
Damn it! There was another song I was going to share with you. It'll come back. Oh yeah. So this other version of this whole idea of splitting music and doing weird shit with sound around your head. The Blue Man Group. Yeah, no. So most people knew about them from the computer commercials in the 90s. If you dug deeper, you found out they were an artistic group of men who did these crazy things with drums and these PVC pipes they built into what they called a tumbler phone or some shit like that. They would have a piano, they would beat on it. It was just all these weird things they were doing musically, but it was more artistic than actual music. And it had a lot of humor to it and a lot of commentary on culture, and it was really great. And then this buddy of mine, and that's what I knew about. And then this buddy of mine I was working with, he was like, man, have you heard that Blue Man Group album? It's great. I'm like, what album are you talking about? So he's like, yeah, if you like drums, this is the album for you. Put on headphones and just thank me later. So I went home, fired up a big fat bowl, headphones, and got lost in the Complex album by the Blue Man Group. And there's this one song, and it starts with this voice saying, your attention, please. And then the song starts. Oh man, I got chills when I did that. And it starts, and it's all this crazy music and these drums and all that. But in this middle breakdown, in the middle 8 of the song, these voices all start harking to you at one time, like about, it has to be at least 8 or 10 voices. Wow. And they're saying shit like, your attention can be split and all, and then like they're saying different shit all at the same time, but they've modulated it in such a way or done something with the placement of it around your head that you can keep up with it all. It's like the crazy. I'll share the song so you guys can experience it.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, for sure. That sounds amazing. So I just remembered that I threw in the Skype chat the 2 recent videos. The first one that he made is the one with the scene from Waterboy. And just take it as satire, man. Just enjoy it. It is just so creative. So anyway.
Yeah, I used to fall asleep to the final cut.
Of what? Waterboy?
No, that's the name of the album, that Pink Floyd album.
Oh.
I'm just seeing people.
Oh, that was a nightly stack. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That was a nightly stack going to bed with that album when it came out.
I don't even know why I bought it. It was weird. I just saw it and I was like, wow, I've never, because that's not one of those Floyd albums that's really well known. At least, like mainstream known. Not like Wish You Were Here or Dark Side of the Moon or, all of those, The Wall. When I was young, everybody was talking about those. Those are the songs that you're hearing on the radio. I don't think the final cut has a song they play on the radio, does it? Let me go check.
Yeah, they do. It was called, hang on. I've got Blue Man blasting out behind me here. Sorry. It was called Society.
No, but I mean one I would have heard in the 90s.
No, it was like a video. It was on the radio. If you were into radio at all when that hit, it was on. It didn't hit big. It wasn't a huge hit, but I'm trying to remember the name of the song. The Fletcher Memorial Home or something like that. Fuck, hang on.
What are we even talking about?
Pink Floyd. Their last album together. Okay, let's see. The Post-War Dream, Your Possible Past, One of the Few, When the Tigers Broke Free, The Hero's Return.
Oh, wow.
Gunner's
So
Dream.
The Tigers Broke Free was originally intended to be on the wall. It was a song they wrote and then just didn't put. And it was, or maybe, no, it was for the album. The album that was the soundtrack to the wall. Because if you're at all, into this, you know that what the song versions you hear in the Wall movie are almost 90% not the version that you're hearing on the album, including that song when the little boy's in the church and looking into Daddy's drawer and finding the bullets and all that stuff. When the Tigers Broke Free, which is about his dad dying at a certain battle during that war. And it got released as a EP single. It was a blip, and I tried to catch it. It sold out instantly everywhere that I could get access to it, and I never could get the single. Didn't have a version of it till Audio Galaxy or one of those song ripping early day things, Limelight, one of them, LimeWire, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that song being included on that album as a track is interesting. They must have put that on there as like later thing or something. That's crazy. Yeah, the Fletcher Memorial Home was the first song they released as a single. It didn't hit, and that pretty much was the telling for that whole album. It just really, most people didn't get it.
But who's they? Who's the band?
Pink Floyd, The Final Cut.
God, I'm so lost.
A great album. Well, that was that first one that had the 3D sound, doing all the crazy shit around your head, and the hidden whispers and the hidden Easter eggs and all that stuff. But Pink Floyd, I mean, that was a band who reveled in doing.
Oh, check this out! I got a story.
Go ahead.
One of my writers yesterday was this young girl, young woman. She's no more than 25, if that. And I think she was probably like 18. Anyway, she has a Pink Floyd shirt on. She's black. Okay. I said, she gets in the car, I greet her, and we start driving away. I said, I'll give you $25 if you tell me one Pink Floyd song. And she goes, what are you talking about? And I said, your shirt, Pink Floyd. She's like, yeah. I said, do you know what that is? She said, no. I'm like, why are you wearing that shirt? She's like, she said, I got it because it matched my shoes. So you got this millennial snowflake, whatever she might be or whatever, she has no clue that she's wearing like, the gods, Led Zeppelin style level of, Yes style level of just amazing musicianship. She had no clue. So here we go. Ready? We were chatting and I said, would you like to hear what this group sounds like? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, what song am I going to choose?
What song do you pick?
What song? And I'm looking at her in the rearview mirror, she's black or whatever. I'm like, what is this? And I think of The Great Gig in the Sky. Just because it's just soulful.
Solo.
Whoa. And so that's what I played for her. So we listened to the whole thing all the way through, and I stopped and I said, what did you think? She's like, I really like that, And so like there's this kid that now knows, and this is what I said to her. I said, now check this out. Now every time you wear this shirt, you can think to yourself, I know what this shirt sounds like. You know, because of this experience.
That's awesome.
Right? I'm like, I just gave that to you. You're welcome. Have a nice day.
No charge.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So just for the record, I knew I wasn't nuts. Yeah, the album originally didn't include Tigers Broke Free. That started being included on the album after 2004 CDs. Yeah. I'm like, no, I would have loved for that to have been on that album because I didn't have a copy of that song. I can only catch it on the radio once every year or so, you know. Because it was, man, that song.
Why was
Tigers
that?
Broke Free,
Was it always the same time?
It was. No, it was again, it wasn't a huge hit. Have you ever heard of When the Tigers Broke Free?
I don't think so, no.
There you go. So it definitely wasn't.
Well, no, I just didn't know if it was like a seasonal thing, like it happened to coincide.
No, it just happened to be a song that didn't get, it wasn't on the wall. They used it in the movie. They reissued it as a single called Pink Floyd Music from the Wall in the film. And it had the Bring the Boys Back Home in the B-side. And that was the single that only way you could have your own copy of When the Tigers Broke Free, or just break it down off the album and make your own copy. In fact, the first version I probably had off LimeWire was somebody pulling it from the album. I also used to have the album of the movie music, which you can't really, or you probably can now, but at the time you couldn't go buy a soundtrack album that had the song versions from the Walt movie that were totally different than than the album versions. So I had somebody had done that on LimeWire or Audio Galaxy or one of those, and that's what the description told. Hey, it took me hours and blah, blah, blah to make this, so I hope you guys love it. And I did. It's probably still on my big stack of burnt CDs from all the computers ago. But yeah, that whole era of those songs and that movie and the artwork, the cartoons, Gerald Scarfe, I mean, dude, his artwork in that movie is phenomenal. It really, and then it was also an era of quite a bit of psychedelic. Really?
Yeah.
Get a copy, enjoy a bowl, and go for it. It's definitely gonna. It just I didn't really know way to prepare for it.
The Wall changed my life.
Yeah,
Really?
dude, there's no way to prepare you for what you're about to go through. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I envy you. Your first.
What about the whole? Am I mixing up my things? Who did the Wizard of Oz soundtrack matchup thing?
That's Dark Side.
That was the Dark Side Moon.
So it's still Pink Floyd, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Pink Floyd.
Okay, but that's legit because I've never looked into that either.
I've done it.
I did it,
Tripping
but
my
I also
balls off
sat
in it
with
headphones on.
So
Yeah.
early on in the like ecstasy era of going to raves and electronic dance music and ministry before they turned industrial, they would have these video screens on all these rave clubs that I would go to at the time, and they would have crazy imagery going all the time with the music. And I'm like, where I'd go to, I knew the DJ, Super Dave, and I'd ask him, man, where are you getting these videos? And it was these demo cassettes that you could get if you knew somebody who worked at like Sears or JCPenney or anywhere they were like demoing VCRs and new TVs, which at the time were huge, big boxes. And it was called the Mind's Eye. We didn't know that at the time, but that's what it was called. And it was just this crazy amalgam of people taking imagery from commercials, from the early Lawnmower Man special effects, from corporate presentations, because you could see their logo in the presentation, from commercials that were happening at the time, but they took it and they remastered it all into this amazing musical presentation video to trip on basically while you're dancing in a club. But if you put that on with like Pink Floyd going, hey, it matches up because it's rhythmic and it all is rhythm based. And so if you have a music or a movie that's already got rhythmic keys going on, and you have music that's got rhythmic keys going on. It's pretty much going to link up all the time. I would put on Tool, pick a Tool album, and throw on like whatever movie.
Coincidence.
And it would match up. I mean, it's but
there are
I've done it too many times on my own with other shit, and it's like, especially
over the
when you're
rainbow and looking from one skyline to the other, and that's when a plane flies in one ear and flies out the other at the exact same time.
I've done it.
There's some crazy coincidences in it. Like when they do Money, dude, it's every time you hear the you see water. It's like whenever they show water in Oz, when she first gets to Oz, there's like a little waterfall and stuff like that, and the little river going through there. Whenever they show water, that thing goes It's insane, dude. It just, it broke my brain. It did. All the coincidences, I'll just say.
That's so fucking wild. So, guys, do you ever think about just think about what if you could have been there? You know? I mean, fuck, you know? Because it's like it was real. Like you can, and they're what? They're 25 fucking years old. So here comes the skeptical conspiracy theorist in me. Like I really think that there's I guess a meeting of two different ways of doing this. You have artists who can play the instruments, but they're not the writers of the songs. So the songs are the messages that the elite have written that they want to be out there for the popular consumption. And then they find people who are the Paul McCartney. They find these real people and say, these are the songs that you will sing. We'll give you credit for it. But this, because these guys are 24 years old, blowing our minds with lyrics that just how do you fucking even know what you're talking about right now? That kind of level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bob. It was weird. Bob pretty much said that he got his songs from somewhere else, and that person's gone now. You know, he started talking about his song, It's All Right, Ma. And he went through a couple of the first lyrics. Darkness at the break of noon, shadows even the silver spoon, a handmade blade the child's balloon, eclipses both the sun and moon. To understand you'd know too soon. There's no sense in trying. He's like, you know.
What the fuck did you just read? What was that?
That was the beginning to It's All Right, Ma, one of Bob Dylan's songs that he says is one of his greatest writings of all time.
You are quite the aficionado. That was good.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I know.
That's one of my favorite songs. And,
he's on tour right now. If you
see,
didn't
the
know,
thing is, it's okay. So I got distracted by this earlier before, but I think I was saying this to you guys earlier. Maybe it'll come around now, right? So Lee Haywood is I had that reaction to him as you would have thought that somebody heard Johnny Cash and was like, oh wow, that's Johnny Cash. He's everything I imagined it would be. I never thought that about Johnny Cash. I never thought that about any artist, really. But then this guy, Lee Haywood, comes out of nowhere that someone recommends, and I just turn it on. But then everything about the song just completely just covers me up. And I'm like, what is this? I love what I'm hearing right now. And so when I'm saying with Bob Dylan, I never just liked him. I could get his philosophy, I can do it, that's poetic. I love it. But his my caricature of what it was in my head, I just did not want to listen to that voice. So I feel I was missed on so much,
It was Highway 61 Revisited that changed that for me, Travis, because I was the same way. I'm like, who enjoys this man? What is the fucking deal? And that album hit me. It did. It hit me in the right place. And then I can't really say there was another album that I hit hard like that. There were songs I liked. It was just one of those. Yeah, he's a definitely taste. You got to have the taste for it, I guess.
Yeah.
So temperament or whatever.
Yeah, I loved his folky stuff, and then
there are people who don't like John Prine. Oops, sorry.
No, you're good.
You know what I'm saying? There are people who don't like his voice or his delivery.
his
And to
style?
me,
Well, fuck them.
what was it? That's what I say, Josh.
Got no time for them kind of assholes.
Fucking
What?
genius. John Prine? No?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know who that is.
He wrote a song called Sam Stone. He wrote a song called, well, shit, I'll just send you a list and you just get deep and thank us later. Hang on.
Yeah, it's the one thing well, not the one thing, but it's one thing that's really nice about all this social media platforming stuff is artists that refuse to sell out can still be found somewhat, you know. There have been artists that got big doing things starting on YouTube or wherever now.
Well, you know, like I know somebody who could be the next somebody. So this kid, Daniel Profeta, started a reaction channel, and when I came across him, he was in the single digits in the thousands. And now he's up to like I think 65,000 or 7,000. You know, so I've been with him the entire way, and I've seen him change what he's been doing. And I don't follow him as much anymore because he changed his thing, but I'm still behind him 100% as an artist. You know, and I interviewed him 2 or 3 times, and you know, so like he's now having shows in Georgia. You know, he's on tour for like, you know, festivals and things like that. Like this kid is, I've seen him not know how to play guitar and then turn into a like Leonard Cohen loving, Bob Dylan loving troubadour. You know what I mean? Like this kid's he's got talent. You know what I mean? And it's just exciting to see that I know someone like that, at least virtually. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's written, I think, 2 or 3 albums that he's produced himself, and so they're available. And I used one of the tracks because I loved it. And it was a kid, you know, he's like 19 years old, and he's just doing stuff and putting things. But I loved his. It was really like it was like it reminded me of something that you would have seen in Dune. That was how great the soundtrack was. I was like, man, that was awesome. So I used it for one of my Fata Morgana videos because I had that, you know, ethereal feel to it, and I thought his music went well with it.
Interesting that you use Dune soundtrack as a reference. Are you a Toto Dune fan? Am I about to be?
I don't know what that means. Look, I don't look.
I had so much hope for you, Travis. I'm fucking with you, man. I'm fucking with you.
No, teach me.
Okay, so that movie came out in '84.
Yeah.
I love David Lynch. He was not the person to get to make that movie. So when you have a card passed out in the fucking lobby to people trying to give some back history to this movie they're about to see, you're in trouble. That's what they had going on. I used to still have my little card that explained who the Bene Gesserit was, what the Sadarach was. Yeah, all the shit you're about to be exposed to, and you're not going to have a fucking clue about any of it. Well, here's a fucking glossary. Good luck. That's literally how you walked into the theater back in '84. So I went in knowing that it wasn't going to be the movie of the book I love, that it was going to be this weird guy who had done a movie I did love called Eraserhead, and what the fuck is he doing this movie for? And boom, it started. And the music hit, and that music blew my mind. But I already was aficionado of soundtrack, so I already had the ear to go like, what? Well, left that movie, went into the mall, because it was right outside the mall, to the record store and picked up the Dune soundtrack. And when I turned it over, music by Toto, which I already knew from that movie, but I'm like, Toto, how the fuck is that band doing this music? There's a whole like history of how it happened.
Oh, so I did hear you right. When you first
Toto
said something,
did the fucking music for Dune in '84, and it's amazing. I've owned that album.
Wow.
Every time I break it, I would buy it again. I've had the CD, which at one point was like a $30, $40 CD when there were 10 everywhere else because it was hard to get. And yeah, it's one of my favorite go-to albums. I keep it in rotation. It's probably within hand's reach right now. In fact, I was looking it up on eBay the other day to get a copy in case this one goes bad.
Yeah, I think I was recalling that in my YouTube suggestions, it's the newer Dune soundtrack that I was listening to recently.
Which Hans Zimmer is one of my all-time favorite guys forever. I love
like
that new one as well. I don't have a copy of it yet, but I love it. Every time I've watched that movie,
you know what it made me?
I love his
It made
stuff.
me watch. It made me watch the movie actually because I never watched the '84 movie. I didn't have any interest in it. I've tried to read Dune, and I hate science fiction that's that style. There's like this weird kind of niche science fiction that I don't.
It's hard. It's a hard read.
Yeah,
it's very hard.
I can't even listen. But anyway, I can't remember what I was saying now. But I was saying something about something. Whatever.
Sorry, I saw Israel Adams say Jeff Porcaro, Dave Drum, dude. I love everybody in Toto. Like to me, Luke is one of my favorite guitar players ever, but Porcaro was a beast. Sorry.
Have you
Toto
seen,
geek moment?
Have you seen the YouTube channel called Professor of Rock?
I used to use that dude's voice on the radio quite often. Yeah, I love that guy.
What? That's not his voice.
I know, but I used to have my version of it back in the day.
I don't know. I don't know if you're being serious or not, but
no, dude, I love him. I literally like watch every drop he puts out.
So
like
you know that he's
about fucking Rush is one of my favorite new ones.
He's talked to members of Toto.
Oh yeah,
this kid who's younger than I am from Iowa.
Is he younger? It's hard to pick to peg his age. He's one of those dudes that's got a very like old soul, I guess, but he seemed like he could be young, but is he young?
I think
he's hard to read.
No. I think I remember hearing something early on or finding out, he was born in 82. So he's like 10 years younger than I am. But my point is like this guy, if he's real, because I'm dubious of reality, of course, but if this guy's real, if he's like...
Well, that's why I went with the fake voice, because he is the classic radio announcer voice that you cultivate, like you practice that like a song, like singing and stuff. You don't just naturally have that flow. That's why I loved it so bad, because I haven't done it daily in years. You develop that voice. It's a rhythm. It's a singing. It's literally a singing to do it right. And that's why he can do it so well. He's got it down. Dude, I went and looked up the fucking like Zell. Is that the glasses he saw? Or Zenny or some shit? I went and looked at the site for his glasses. I'm so into this dude. Yeah, man, I'm down. I'm super down.
Yeah. Oh, man. So anyway, so like, look, he's like, his channel is a great channel. He's putting out.
Yeah, he digs deep.
Tons.
He digs really deep.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got his shtick, 2 beat. What does they say? 3 beats and the truth or something like that. 3 chords and the truth. So he's got everything: mannerisms down, pitch down, hands. But it's a great content, great channel. And then exposing me.
What's that from? Isn't that from a U2 song? Or something about all I need is a red guitar, 3 chords, and the truth. What's that from?
Could be. Because that's how like geeky this guy is. Like he would know this obscure song that you're talking about, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
And
but he says it on every single one of his videos. At the end, that's how he says goodbye.
Country music ain't nothing but 3 chords and the truth. That's a famous quote by Howard.
Huh. Nice.
All I need is a red guitar, 3 chords, and the truth. Oh, what is that from? Red guitar, 3 chords, and the truth. All I've got is a red guitar, 3 chords, and the truth. One of the most meaningful lyrics to anyone is blah, 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 blah. I don't care, just who does it. Famous by, was originally written by Bob Dylan, made famous by Jimi Hendrix, and later covered by everyone from U2 to Elton John and the Grateful Dead. So yeah, I heard it from U2.
But what song is it in that?
All Along the Watchtower, it says in here. So I've heard it
Really?
from Bob Dylan and Jimmy, but I remember it from U2. Yeah, because it's All Along the Watchtower. Yeah, same song.
3 Chords and the Truth is in All Along the Watchtower?
Yeah.
Huh.
All I need is a red guitar, or all I've got is a red guitar. 3 chords and the truth.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that song. I forgot they covered that song.
That must be only in the Dylan version of that song, because I don't recognize it from.
No, the U2 version is the one I remember it from. I don't even remember it from the Dylan version.
Because the Jimi Hendrix version, definitely, I don't know that part of the song, because he always would alter things when he would cover it. In fact, on one of my favorite live performances of him doing Like a Rolling Stone, he tells him, "Yeah, I know I skipped the verse. Don't worry about it. Let me play my guitar."
I doubt anybody had any objections.
Yeah, but I think that would have been probably somebody who was really snooty, because like someone like me would have known that there was something missing. I would have just been taken, up in the whole thing anyway. I would have just been like, wow. I wouldn't even know if you made a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. You're too mystified by him playing his guitar. Like, yeah, when I was watching Rage Against the Machine, when Tom Morello was playing, like the whole time, it didn't matter if, De La Roca was singing or not. The words may have been coming out of my mouth, but my focus was on watching Tom Morello do all that crazy, just the effortlessness of it, and how he was barely putting his hands on his guitar and all these crazy noises are coming out of it. That's what I was like focused on. The words were there and everything, but I wasn't hearing them. I was seeing that guitar. That's it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you did that live, right?
Yeah. Aragon Ballroom. It was pretty amazing.
All right. Sounds like it. Yeah, I mean, my best story is like some nosebleed section of watching Paul Simon do his Graceland tour in like the late 80s. Like you have to use your binoculars to see him.
So I have to address something really quick, since we brought up Jimmy and Badfish Bear there in chat. Jimmy was a decent guitarist with the little emoji of finger kind of thinking it over. So as a guitarist growing up, I played guitar probably since about age 15. And my heroes early on were Ace Frehley and Elvis Presley. I know it's nuts, but I love Elvis. And I would hear about this guy, Jimi Hendrix, and I would hear Purple Haze on the radio, and I would probably hear Foxy Mama on the radio, or Foxy Lady, whatever. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, get it. I guess, not really. What's the deal? It's just like, for me, there was a whole lot of the Zeppelin and Jimmy Page experience that went by me. I didn't get on that boat. It just didn't hit me in a place that went, like some of the other things did. And then one day at my cousin's, we were having a discussion, because she was the biggest Hendrix fan growing up. She was always trying to get me into him, and I just couldn't get there, because the guys I was getting into played a lot faster and a lot more technically advanced. And then I started getting into guys like Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, and I'm like, whoa, that's way out. They keep referencing this guy, and he's a god. I'm like, okay. So at my cousin's house that day, she put on a song called Castles Made of Sand. And as tears rolled down my face, I went, I get it now. And then I started listening to what he did with the leading of his guitar. Not the lead guitar he played, but the way he would use notes to tie what he was singing together through all these chord changes. It's a style you can't just pick up and play if you haven't studied it deeply for years. That's why Stevie Ray was such a master of it because he did that. He studied it and learned those things. And it's this whole idea of like he would use a note for a chord in places. And I don't know, it's like, if you're not a guitar player, it's hard to explain some of this shit, I guess. But yeah, it took me, I was in my 20s, getting into my 30s before I really got into Hendrix as like oh, I get it. He's a fucking genius kind of thing. That performance I spoke about, the Like a Rolling Stone performance, him redoing this song that I had heard 100 million times. Like I said, I had 61 revisited and loved that song. But for him to take it and make it his own like he did, well, hell, like he did Watchtower. I mean, he didn't make the cover song. A lot of people thought they were his songs if they hadn't heard the original. So I'll send you that live performance of Rolling Stone. It's great. Hang on.
Woohoo! I am gonna bounce out of here, guys. I'm ready to just zone out on my bed.
Right on. Well, Donnie Burger will do that to you.
Yeah, man.
That he will.
So.
Well, thanks for coming to hang out.
Yeah.
Good time.
I hope so. I think that's it, I suppose. Happy St. Patty's Day coming up, right?
Is it?
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Huh. I'm not. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Thought I was for a long time.
My oldest, yeah, so did I. My oldest son was born on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
What?
Jimmy, I'm sorry, I was talking and Jimmy started playing. Oh. So I dropped that link in chat and here in the call as well.
Yeah, I see it all. I'm going to do that right now.
It's really great. It really is great. Hey, look, I did drop, I referenced the Blue Man Group, and it's a very niche thing. I get that. It's like guys who have put fucking blue paint on and are beating on things, but it's really not that. Like when I heard the album, I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? Because the stuff they write about, like the masks we wear in society and the underground hidden, like secret lives that we each, dude, there are amazing lyrics. There's a song called On a Roof. It's called, there's a song about going up on a roof to get above the bullshit of the world. And it's like really great. So then I'm like loving the album. Then one day walking through a fucking Walmart, I see this DVD on the shelf. I'm like, well, that's that album, like concert, like, oh, what? So I grabbed the DVD thinking, oh, it might be okay. It was a life-changing experience watching that DVD, guys. It's like, I can see it right here on the shelf. It's a go-to. It will go to the desert island with me. I put the whole DVD link in the chat. It is amazing what they do in this thing. And then luckily they came through and I saw them live here with my son. It was his first concert, seeing them do that shit live on stage. Sorry, I'm just excited because I'm sharing this with everybody.
No, man, listen, I feel that. And so what I'm going to do right now, because, I would hope because of our association and whatnot, but like what you're doing right now is like what I've done with Waking Life or Infinity Chamber.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm so passionate about
for
this,
those things.
right? Like I have no idea how many people have ever watched it because of what I said, but if they did, I think that they would say that was a life-changing, for me it was too. So I'm really interested to see, because my whole concept of the blue, it was like a commercial. Like these guys are just like, what? They're what? So I'm ready to be blown away. But at the same time, I don't know. Because this is where I'm like, this is my angst right now. Because I'm trying to be Truman. I'm trying to create a channel that people will be interested in to hear what Travis Finley thinks and says about different things, And I think that every once in a while I might stumble across something lucky and say something. But like, that's what I'm creating this channel for people to come across or,
fuck. What was I going to say? The reason why I create content, Blue Man Group. Something. Doggone it.
Just exposing people to stuff that might give them a touch of that passion you feel for it.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's times when I'm sharing something like that with somebody. Usually it's somebody
I remember
know who's already open to it. Go ahead. I don't want to break it again.
Yeah. So then I'm like wanting to create a reaction channel, right? Because there are millennials who are listening to Steely Dan. And they're like, I didn't know who this was, and it's amazing. You know, they're like they're hip hop. They don't know anything about anything. You know, they are hearing the sample source, right? So like there's a bass line from Lido Shuffle or whatever, you know, from Boz Scaggs, and this millennial's like, no way, that's an Eminem's song. Like this is where this song comes from. You know what I mean? Like they didn't it's blowing their minds, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just looking forward to this, and yeah. And then so that's actually what I was doing. So then I'm thinking, well, I could do that. Like I could create a reaction channel. Like so then I would be an old guy reacting to stuff that I've never listened to, which would be the Blue Man Group. So then that would be perfect for me to do right now.
Oh, that would be amazing for you to do that, dude. Oh my God.
And like, I would
love to see your reaction. Oh,
yeah, right. Now, to be perfectly honest, I did this with Alita, the warrior, whatever. What is she's called? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The CGI thing that happened. So the actress in the Alita movie is the same actress who is in the Undone series on Prime, and I can't remember her name, but she's the same actress. So that's the only reason why I watched Alita, or tried to. So what I'm trying to say is that like, So I got 17 minutes into it, and I said, yeah, I'm done. So I'm filming myself. I'm doing a live, real reaction. I'm watching it. You know, the scenes are coming up. You know, whatever, and I'm interacting here and there. But it's 17 minutes in, and I'm like, guys, I'm not finishing this. Like, click. And I thought to myself, who does that? Like, no, there's no channel out there where the guy who watches it might not watch your favorite fucking movie. Is he insane? That's like the best movie ever. He made it 5 minutes and thought it was shit. Like, can you imagine if like I could like market that to be a guy that you would like, oh, I want him to watch my movie. He'll make it at least 42 minutes. I got 42 minutes. Who's going to bet?
Right.
42 minutes, right? Can you imagine that? Like, if I could create that kind of a world, that would be amazing. Why can't I? Why can't I make that, right? Manifest it. Dream the life, and then you live the dream.
Hell, I'm so pumped up. I'm going to watch it again after this.
Whew. So, all right. I think I'm going to dip out. I think I'm going to light up.
Thank you so much. It's always exciting to do this and hear your passion about these things.
Oh,
and then,
good. Well,
I said, try to share some of that passion with you. Oh, absolutely, it does, friend. It definitely does.
You know, you could be that. You could be the positive algorithm or the negative algorithm. People love you and they hate you. It's like we hate it when Travis is on, but their algorithms are really good.
Thank you, truly, brother. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. So, looking forward to the next month. Driving to Dallas to see the eclipse. So I'm trying to cushion it, like, right. So we were talking about the whole polarization. I know that I'm back. I'm back. I didn't leave. I'm not going anywhere. So so I want to film the position of the sky and the star, where the moon is and where the sun is, as in the waning crescent, as the waning moon, gets closer and closer to the sun. That's the opposite of what we were just talking about in terms of, like, when the moon appears out of nowhere. because there we're watching the moon disappear, but we can see it in real time, and it's slow motion almost. We can watch it disappear right in front of our eyes, and then, oh, lo and behold, what we've been like, it's like this weird mystical transition from you're looking at the moon, you're watching the moon, and you're seeing the moon, and you don't realize that as you're panning to the left, you're getting closer to the sun. It's almost like a frog in a kettle, but optically, right? You don't know that you're getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. You don't realize that as you're looking at the moon approaching the sun in that polarization field, that's what is the cause for the phenomenon that you're seeing. The moon of the light diminishes as it gets closer to whatever the fuck that is, call it a node, I don't know what, and then as it moves away, it then increases in its light. And you just see that circle over and over and over and over and over and over again forever.
Hopefully.
This world is infinite. It is eternal, because that's all we've ever known. I mean, we know just right now, but we assume that yesterday was real. And if you just keep going back and back and back and back and back, it's like this, but we've just always been here.
I'm just grateful when the sun comes back around to shine again. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
That's all I need.
Yeah, I'm kind of like thinking that way with the moon, right? So like, I'm just adoring the moon right now, but I get what you're saying, because I have an appreciation, because like I couldn't see her all day today. Like I couldn't see her. Like I miss her.
I remember those days. So try northern Indiana in the winter after 8 months of studying the sun every day, except for a couple rainy days where you never saw it once. I think I had like 4 or 5 days where I didn't see it at all.
What made you want to do?
That was my first flat Earth thing. That was the first
measurement
thing I did.
Yeah.
Sunspot rotations.
Yeah. Okay.
I said, they showed something. And I still believe they would if we could get the rotation from other places, and people capturing it and this and that. I still think it would. Or even the moon's rotation that we see, because it changes with latitudes. So once you get south of the equator, we should see some weird stuff happening that doesn't happen north of the equator.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is an interesting dynamic, because if you think about being in a culture where you have no awareness of that history, you only have science that's updated according to your knowledge.
Yeah, well, like even the observatories, when they show you pictures of the moon, you can't they will not give you the original pictures. They'll give you the ones where they're all lined up the same, as if you were standing at the North Pole. Like the moon does not rotate if you're standing at the North Pole. It just goes around you and the face never changes. Well,
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. I've never stood there, but the way it does change would make sense from the ones I have seen. I haven't seen too far. Northern Indiana to like down in Texas where Chris was. He's taken some sunspot rotations from there. But like the Royal Observatory, they won't give them to you. No, because we were doing it with the sun. Sunspot measurement. And they'll just show you the sun at midday is the sun they show you. In the morning.
Why do you need, because people can see sunspots themselves these days, so why are you needing to appeal to a...
Well, because we want the actual shot, because it's taken from an observatory that's, perpendicular to the ground.
So then why do you
So it's always 90 degrees level.
So if you can
they tell you. They will tell you they will not give you those pictures. You can ask for them. Because the sun should rotate. It should do the wagon wheel in the sky throughout the day. And they don't show that. They only show it from midday as if you were standing at the North Pole. Like when the sun is directly south of you, that means you and north are lined up with the sun. And that's what it would look like from the North Pole.
Okay, that's fair enough. But what is it that they're hiding by
how
doing
much
that?
the rotations are happening from different spots all over the Earth. Because that could tell you something. Because it should rotate the exact same at 41 degrees north as it does at 41 degrees south on the equinox. If the sun is directly at the equator at 41 degrees north, it should rotate, 90 degrees around.
Okay. All right.
And then
So
in the
then,
south, it should rotate 90 degrees.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if it's a flat Earth, it'll rotate like 180 degrees almost. Something crazy like that.
I don't know. Yeah, but even saying that, you have to have a concept in your mind of something that would work as a mechanism. Like you couldn't show me that right now.
Yeah, I've got videos
You know
on
what I
it.
mean?
On it. Yeah, you can. You can go to Stellarium. It'll show you the exact same thing.
Okay. Well, then maybe I'm not being clear in terms of what I'm trying to say, but I understand what you're saying right now.
Yeah, like the rotation of the guy was, because now I can look at the moon like in the movies. When they show the moon, I can be like, okay, they are north of the moon right now, and it is in the eastern sky.
Oh, no. That's way above my pay grade. What can you do? How can you do that?
Yeah, because of the rotation, and I know what the moon looks like when it's directly south of me. When it's lined up with the north.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right.
So when it's lined up with the North Pole,
spot enough to know, right?
I know where that spot is. The soccer ball, I call it. There's the big crater that's dark, and that'll be right about 3 o'clock at 90 degrees.
Okay.
When the moon is directly south of you, no matter where you are on the plane. Unless you're south of the moon, then it'll be directly to the left at 270 degrees. That's the image that we see. Now, when you're not standing, when the moon is to the east, it's no longer directly south of you, lined up perfectly with north. It's still lined up with north, but you're not lined up with it anymore. So you're going to see the image differently. It's going to be rotated to you. And if it's in the east, it'll be counterclockwise a little bit. And if it's to the west of you, it'll be clockwise.
I am so lost right now.
Yeah, check out the video here. I'll find it and I'll drop it in the chat. Yeah, and it works on Stellarium and everything. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I think if we had good information from the southern hemisphere, from these different latitudes, we could absolutely prove that.
What do you think about,
or we're not at all?
What do you think about what Lindsay says about the toroidal field, and that you increase in your size, but according to ratio? So like the field expands. So like just how we expect that it, because it's flat, it radiates out. It doesn't curve back around on itself. So it continues to increase in size. There's just south of the equator is just nothing but just more and more and more and more space. And so Lindsay suggests that because the toroidal field shows us that part of the field expands, that when we then go into that field, we actually get bigger. But everything gets bigger with us at the same time.
Well, to our perspective, the moon is smaller when it's in the southern. The sun gets bigger when it's to the south, but the moon is biggest when it's to the north. It's like the exact opposite. It's weird.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, that's, again,
when you take your camera out and take pictures of it and then measure it up against, it'll change about 13%. But when it's always furthest north, that's when they claim that it's at its closest of that perigee-apogee cycle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always biggest in the north, and then the sun is always biggest when it's in the south. It's about 5 to 6 degrees bigger.
But so all of NASA's jargon aside, that actually happens. So
I've done this. I've taken the pictures.
I get you. So then what's your explanation for it? Like is it just data to be?
I have no clue. This is the stuff that really breaks my brain. It's just like, what?
Right.
It doesn't,
Well, because the thing is, look, you can't have this knowledge. You can't have this knowledge without the ability to see what you're talking about. So you have to be able to
have taken pictures of the sun and moon and
right.
every day.
Yeah. Right. So that then is a sense of your qualifications. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that like people who have, invested time in this field and know what the paper looks like in reality. You know what I mean? Like those people, I think, are the ones that are not well known.
No, the ones that regurgitate it the best and are charismatic. Regurgitate the main storyline, the mainstream storyline. Those are the ones that are well known. Your Bill Nyes and your Neil deGrasse Tysons. They're very charismatic. They're good at grabbing the attention of children and young people and, getting their story across.
It's just bizarre, man. I offended a bartender because I met him for the first time, and it was a nice Italian wine bar. And I found out what his name was. Just I know, like, what are you interested in? He's like, I'm really interested in space. And I was like, oh, really? And I mean, we're just trying to fish for something. And it just came out. Oh, I said, like, who do you like? Who's your go-to physicist? He goes, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Oh. And I just lost it. I must have seen me twitch or something, because he from that moment shut down. Like this guy, like I must have done something to where it's like, are you goddamn kidding? You didn't just say Neil deGrasse Tyson is your favorite. I wanted to just start ranting and just like putting a show up of how I just couldn't believe.
Who's your favorite historical military leader? Well, I'm really fond of Captain Kangaroo.
Oh my goodness!
Because Captain Crunch ruled the sea.
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah, the world is a stage, right?
It's fucking crazy, man.
You're not going to find anybody real on the stage.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like we're the gorilla suit walking through the NPCs, passing the ball around,
Mm-hmm.
Like we have a role to play in this majestic, fucking musical.
It's only for those with eyes to see, though, right?
And that means also that those eyes might be generations from now, because we are creating content on something that, for the most part, is going to be
they'll probably take this show down in a couple years. Give them time. They'll find some reason to take it down. They've been hitting. How many shows would you say now, Josh? They've taken out of ours?
Like total?
Yeah. just rough guesstimate. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy, Walt.
50 or 60.
Travis. Yeah. I was saying 40 plus.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Okay, but then think about the fact that you're just then one of the soldiers that took a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah. That's
yeah.
Show
so
was.
What I mean is that, like, I'm trying to say is that there are other channels that are either flying under the radar that are doing the same thing you are, or there are other channels that I haven't even heard of that are like talking about truth. So I'm saying ultimately that all of us truthers who are creating content, ultimately we're doing it for people in the future, because imagine there is a reset. And then I would pray to God, someone comes across my research and has an interest in Mirage. And then, like, lo and behold, I actually have something to contribute. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking into the future and saying, well, I guess I'm not going to see what I have worked for in my life. So you're welcome.
One of my bucket list things, Trav, I would like to write my book, The History That I Know. I'll probably call it something like that. And I'm just going to bury it in a time capsule somewhere. Nobody else will ever read it. It's not going to be published. I'm just going to bury it. And one day, hopefully, somebody will find it. And that'll be my contribution to man.
Dude,
final
but like, man, this is what I'm saying. If we had or this is what I've said before. Who knows what I'm talking about right now? If we had enough money, what you just said is the perfect idea of a pilot of a series. This kid walking along, with his stick and his dog and whatever, comes across this weird thing, makes him bend down, pick it up, and this is weird, like, oh my, and then he's digging, then he finds your book. And then he's like taking
there.
Huh?
That's Tolkien's grandfather right there.
Okay.
Have you ever heard the story of how Tolkien got a lot of his stories?
Yeah.
He claimed, that was the true history of Earth. Everything we've been taught in history books is pretty much, nonsense. And yeah, this is before the age of man, there was this. This is what took place before the age of man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to a certain extent, they showed that to us in the DreamWorks cartoon Onwards, where it deals with mythological creatures like unicorns and wizards, but they show this contrast in the very beginning of the past, the good old days, when sorcerer had apprentice. And so then you had the Magi, you had the Master Jedi showing his apprentice, his Padawan, how to conjure up fire with his hand. And the apprentice is like, squeezing hard, like he's trying to lift, just like Luke Skywalker. I can't lift it; it's too heavy, or whatever. It's too hard, right? So magic is hard. And then the very next thing you see is you hear this cheering, and then the camera pans over, and it's an electrician turning on a light. Click. So you have technology that can do what the wizard can do. And the wizard is trying to teach them, and it's like, look, they can just turn it on over there. I'm just going to go over here. See you. Thanks. Bye. Like we lost that connection to the universe. And so we don't know that we can communicate with our minds. We don't know that we can move shit with our minds. We don't know that we can fly.
Well, I think it's knowledge that they didn't give to man because they know man is, there's wickedness in men. I was reading this book called The Sea of Trolls when I was younger, and it was all based on magic. But the thing was, for all the magic, the magnitude of the magic that you were doing required energy. So, it would take all day to dig this hole, but you could do it. You could use up that amount of energy and you wouldn't be dead. So you could magically go vroom, and the hole would be there, but you would be as tired as you would be digging that hole. That's what it's based on. And once this guy got to a certain level and started being taught by the elves, the ones who taught humans magic or whatever, they taught him how to grab that life force from the beings around him, like the bugs and the things like that, and the trees and the plants. And he could actually take their life force and use even stronger magic. But that was highly looked down upon, only in a time of like last resort.
Are you getting this from like the Silmarillion or what?
No, this is in that book, The Sea of Trolls. This is what it was all based on.
Who wrote that?
I'm not even sure. Or no, that isn't The Sea of Trolls. That's that book Aragorn, I think.
Huh.
They made a movie about it, but it was
fucking crazy.
There's dragons in it. That might be it, or it might be Sea of Trolls. I don't know. I read a lot of those books back in the day about, magic and dragons and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's what the whole premises of magic was based on, was in order to move a giant boulder, as big as a house, if you actually tried to do that enough, you would kill yourself because, you couldn't do that physically. But if you grab the life force of some of the trees and plants and bugs and everything around you, you could do that. But then it would kill all of them. So it's like a sacrifice. So that's why it was. Yeah, that's why it was.
How do you know
that?
Upon. That sounds nice.
No, that's what the whole basis of that book was. Like, you know, in order to,
because that's like the whole story, right? Fucking A, man. That's like the scene in Lost, right? When they come across Desmond, who's the button pusher. He's got to reset the clock. You know, it's all a lie.
I never watched.
Oh, really? Oh my God. I was just thinking about, it's been 20 years now since it came out, and it's an amazing series. It should have ended at season 5, I think, but season 4 or 5, whichever. That last scene, I was like, I said to my wife at the time, I said, when that scene happened, I said, that is the best way they could have ended this story, because I thought it was done. I thought they were finished because it wrapped it up for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was
more
like, that was
needed to be said. Yeah,
that was amazing. Don't do anything.
that's
It's
where
like,
money
oh,
and
no.
greed come in, and you know, the art is
Yeah.
put aside. That
Yeah.
should have been the end of it.
Yeah.
That's why Breaking Bad was so great, because they knew when to end it.
Oh my God.
You know,
You know what? Deadwood is, I think, an amazing series. I like Deadwood just as much as I like Breaking Bad.
yeah, I haven't seen any of that yet.
Yeah, I've heard that too, man, and I just never have.
Oh,
had access
I
to it.
highly recommend it.
I want to see it. I have
Very-
wanted to see it, but
It
it's just,
is a fucking amazing.
it was
it
on
is-
during that little period when I was disconnected, like from everything. That whole period of Lost and that, and like that era
Yeah,
of
yeah.
TV.
That
I
was
was
right
not.
then,
I had
yeah.
no internet or no. I was doing my decompression for a while. Seems like there was some other show that was out at that same time that we finally caught up on and really liked. Oh, 6 Foot Under was out around that same time period.
Oh man,
Didn't have access to stuff, and then later on we watched
was,
it. Like, oh my
Michael
God,
Seaton
that was
before
so
Dexter.
good. Yep. So
I'm too much of a prude. Look, call me a fucking prude. I don't want to see homosexuality. I just don't.
Not interested.
You
Good
know,
turn
so
off.
as soon as it got to that part in the very first, I think, I don't know if it was the first episode or first,
early on, for sure.
it was really early on. As soon as they got intimate like that, I'm like, I'm done. You just lost me. Like,
Well,
fuck
Walt
this.
knows. What was it? Peacemaker.
Oh yeah.
I watched the very first scene and I turned it off. And he was like, "No,
And
just
I
get
was like,
past
no,
that."
dude, go watch
Because it
that.
was,
It's so great.
I mean, and okay,
You
two
talking about
chicks.
John Cena, Peacemaker?
Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
it starts off with 2 chicks, right? Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not. That doesn't offend me in any way, but at least make them good-looking chicks. You know, it was like, oh, really? So that, yeah, it was like, nope, not watching this. But then I got past that, and it was funny. It was a hilarious show.
To each his own.
That was really good. I was surprised that I
John
liked it.
Cena
as
was
well.
hilarious.
John Cena was hilarious.
John
And I didn't
Cena
like it. I
is
haven't.
Best friend,
hilarious.
not best friend. Oh my
And
god!
the fucking
Yeah, the
just
cast.
the
There's
humor.
some, yeah, there's some. It's just awesome. Thank you, Walter, for that one.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have got past that first scene.
Well, that was like you and me with Rick and Morty. I tried it before you ever showed up over here, and I couldn't get past the voice acting. It's like, oh no, because I'd heard, oh, it's good, it's funny. I'm like, okay, and I watched 20 minutes barely and couldn't get through it. And then you kept saying, no, bro, get it, watch it. And now I'm rewatching it now. I just started it again recently. Yep.
Yeah, those were great. I watched a couple recently as well.
I've only seen the first episode.
Oh, that's like the Simpsons first episode.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough get through, and then once you get past it, you start understanding. And really and truly, man, there's way a lot more going on. I mean, everybody says there's more than that. There's a lot going on. Like a lot.
Storyline.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Painful
Unfolding.
stuff.
Yeah.
Uncomfortably painful stuff. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, though that's the one, right? Yeah, so that's the one where they go down into the hole in the bathroom, right? They have to face their fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the more recent ones. I would start, if you want to start watching them, start at season 3, episode 1. And that kind of tells a little bit of the storyline. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff you would miss, But like season 3 is, I think, when they found their groove. You know, it takes a little while for people to get their groove and stuff like that. Season 3, and I think he was like drinking heavily during that period. Because season 3, some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth is like, oh my God. They were saying it took like forever to get that season out because he was ad-libbing so much. He would sit there and drink.
I was just watching the episode with, with like the TV from another dimension or whatever. And now those little segments, you can hear it, you can hear the ad-libbing happen because he almost laughs at his own bullshit in some of them. Come on down. We got like, whatever he's saying. He's laughing at the own stupid shit he's making up. Yeah, it's really good.
So you're talking about the third season for Rick and Morty. Is that what you're talking about?
I should have lost the damn mute, but yeah, that's what we were talking about. Rick and Morty.
Okay. I really gotta go.
I guess we said we're gonna leave an hour ago, and here
I know, right? Yeah. So. All right.
I guess we need to go. Thank you all. Thank you, Travis.
Yep. Check you guys later.
Later on, Travis.
Absolutely, dude. Enjoy. You got a lot of content now to consume.
Go relax.
Man. I hope you do enjoy it. I really do.
Enjoy the Downy Burger. Chill it out. Zone down.
And that too. And that too.
And then
thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Walter.
Y'all have really helped me through this last few days. It's been a joy to be with you guys. It always is, but especially to bring me out of that dark place. It's so great. Thank you all. Thank you in chat. Thank you, Liz, for the conversation today after the show. I mean, thank you for reaching out.
Good medicine right there.
Oh, it was amazing. And also, I will be hearing from John in chat at some point to talk about some things he went through with his cat and some urinary issues and some natural possible ways to help deal with that if it should occur in my other two males. Or, I mean, I guess it can happen with females as well. I'm not even sure. But yeah, we'll have to see maybe if he wants to hop on sometime and share all that with us. So.
Heck yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I think I'm about winding down.
All right. Love y'all.
Supposed to go hang out with some old folks tomorrow, but I may forego that. I don't start feeling better.
Yeah.
You're starting to feel bad, man. I meant to tell you that earlier. So, it's lungs. Is that what it is again? That whole recurring.
It feels like it's in my chest, but not necessarily my lungs. I don't know. I don't necessarily have any issues breathing or coughing or anything. Nothing.
You can feel that weirdness.
Just kind of sitting in there.
Uneasy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hot steam in the shower helped me when I was going through it. I would go in there and just turn it on in the bathroom and just kind of like, hang out and read or whatever until it would start kind of loosening things up. I tried, damn it, what is it that everybody always says to get for your lungs? Damn it. Come on, help me. Come on. No, it's the herb.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's like it'll come
marijuana. No, I'm joking.
I look it up and I can't remember it, so it's kind of hard to look up and where it can't. Mulin, that's it. Mulin, or however you say it. I tried that for my lungs during that period and didn't get a whole lot of, like, to me, it didn't seem like I got a lot of help with it. Maybe I didn't do, I did the full month of, I think I'd gotten the gummies.
Maybe it just stopped it from getting any worse.
It could have. It could have helped me more than I know. It seems like my go-to, which has always been fenugreek and thyme, when I take that, it helps me. That's all I can say for sure. It helps me. I know some people don't get that result from their lung issues with it. I don't know. Maybe it's a self-induced thing, but when I discovered it back in the day, at a health food store talking to somebody about whatever I was going through, and they told me to try it. It helped. But I again, it's one of those I take a lot of when I need it, and then I don't take it because it makes your sweat and your bodily whatever, just you start smelling like it comes out in your pores. So I don't like that. I used to have to like wear something to keep from smelling that way, and I hate putting any kind of scent on my body. So for me to do that, it was bad. But anyway, yeah, that always helped me. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't want to give you any kind of medical advice, since I'm not a fucking doctor. Sorry.
Nor does he play one.
Nor do I fucking play one. I'm just telling you things that have worked for me in my life. Personally, that I've done to me, and I did it, and it was for me. So fuck off, you. Anyway, sorry, I'm not better. I'm not better. I did find something called Lung Clear, and I have had good and hit and misses with that over the years too, but it's hard to get anymore. It seemed like that's one of those that probably worked, and they took off the market. Lung Clear, Lung Cleanse. Lung Clear. Sometimes I used to get that same health food store. Come in a dark glass, dark amber, bottle. So, thank you, Nemo.
I had to thinking about homunculuses today. And
I show you this?
Golems. Got me thinking of a snow golem. Walt just said, fuck you guys, I'm out.
That is not how you close the picture I had over on YouTube. I mean, on Skype.
I've done that at that.
How many times am I going to do that, really? That's just like, oh. All right, where is it? Hang on.
Think about how they've just normalized the snow golem to the point that they create songs for us to sing about the snow golem.
Let it snow. Sorry.
Put a top hat and a corncob pipe and a carrot for a nose, and you got yourself a fucking snow golem.
Well, wasn't it in, what's the name of that? Death Clock? What's the name of it? Yeah, Death Clock. Metalocalypse. That's it. Mm-hmm. Where they wake up the golem.
Oh, the golem from,
the ice golem or something like that out of the lake.
Arise, arise.
Playing the song. Yeah.
And then they have to, after all the electricity goes off, they have to play the grandpa's guitars.
The grandpa's guitars. Where's the plug?
Anyways, speaking of homunculus, there we go. I have my homunculus owner's manual from Paranoid American. Look, guys, if you haven't gone over there to Juan and Juan's stuff, go in and dig deep. I don't know if you grew up in the era I grew up in. You may have seen little religion handouts everywhere at the corner store. I'm trying to get it in the camera, but it's hard. But yeah, this great artwork. It flashed me back to picking up the little
bald folks at the airport.
Pamphlets. Yeah, airport, right, bus station. Absolutely. So it's great. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And they've got a lot of like great looking comic books there that I'm going to get into. The graphic novels. There's stuff about space. There's stuff, the live space. I reached out to Juan when I'd gone over and watched them live, and we emailed, and I told him it was 5 Eastern. That's what he sent back. 5 Eastern with a big exclamation. So we haven't proceeded past that, just mostly my issues and dealing with cats lately. But I will reach out and get him over here for sure. I want to talk. It seems like that would be one of those. Kind of like tonight where it just won't end because it keep hitting topics we're all excited about. So again, thank you guys. Truly, I love y'all. Y'all just don't know how this has helped. And like Josh said, when it happened with Binks, I was going to just blow it off this morning and stay in the bed because of the lack of sleep and the heavy heart. I knew that if I got in here with you guys and, hung out with my family and my friends, that's what I needed more than anything. And it has helped immensely. So thank you, truly.
Group therapy works. Just saying.
All right, then let's bounce the fuck up out of here.
Love you, Josh.
Love you, Zach. Love you.
Love you, Josh. Love you, Zack. Love all you guys. You really have no clue.
Yeah, love you all there in chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. in the mornings and these Friday evenings. I surely appreciate your presence here. So in the meantime, you can find us next week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Actually, not just next week. Over there, freeworld.fm for the Ironworks. If you want, it's possible. You can find us on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
I don't know where.
Real quick, let me do this before you leave. I'm sorry. I just went back to my emails because during the show, John reached out to me and I responded, hey, and that I didn't know if we had things set up to take calls and we could hop him in sometime and all that. I didn't realize he immediately went like, hey, I got Skype. I could hop in now. So I missed that, John. I am so sorry. My apologies. You saw the conversation that we were all having and the different like bulbs just going off left and right. Oh, wow, this thing. And so we just got sidetracked, my friend. We will definitely get you in here because I definitely want to hear about that.
Yeah.
Because they don't hear me talk about cats enough,
Episode 7, a trivia.
Oh.
Over on the Mellow.
Oh, is that Friday?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, we may not be here then. If it's going to be coinciding before, we'll multi-stream it or whatever like we did before, maybe. How about that?
I love you, Cami. Thanks for hanging out with us, too. We appreciate you. I know you're there in chat. I know you're not feeling the best. I appreciate you coming and hanging out with at least a little bit. It's good to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Cami. I love you too, lady. I saw it. And I felt it always.
All right, then. Let's get the F out of here. Love you guys. Enjoy your weekend.
Love you.
Be good. Be well. Do good.